is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 386 for your Saturday, August 14th, 2021. I am JD from New York. This is the OTS venue. We have a lot to go over today, man. We got a lot of news coming out of the NXT death. NXT's dead, folks. I'm not sure if you have realized this yet, but start to realize it. Every single time you watch Tuesday night, it will never be the same. Everything that we have come to know and love about NXT is gone. And we can thank Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis and Nick Khan for killing the one good thing that this company had in its possession. And that was Triple H's baby in NXT, which, by the way, he is no longer in charge of. No matter what you think or what I say or what sources I have, all you have to do is open your eyes, folks. NXT is no longer in control by Triple H. It's all over. I got so much news coming out of everything that happened in the last week or so, including the most up-to-date information that you guys might not be aware of. We're going to go over that today on the podcast. Also, Adam Cole. I have news on what Adam Cole and Vince McMahon talked about, and I'm going to go over the initial report about WWE not pushing hard to keep Adam Cole in WWE, which I think is absolutely asinine. I think that's ridiculous. There's nothing exciting planned for him. It's all just, it's ridiculous how nobody sees Adam Cole as a future WWE champion, Universal champion. I don't know how you don't see Adam Cole as a face of this company, a future WrestleMania main event superstar. Vince McMahon wants WrestleMania main event guys. You're looking at one. So if you got one staring you right in the face, why not just embrace that? Oh, but he's too small. Oh, he's over 30 years old. Oh, he's only 5'8", 180 pounds. We can't push somebody like that. Give me a break. Give me a break, man. I don't get this mentality in WWE. I really don't. I also have news on WWE finally giving us a men's King of the Ring. There were rumors about a Queen of the Ring, which I think is completely unnecessary. But now we have news on a potential men's King of the Ring. And the big story, folks, the backstage indifference between Vince McMahon's camp and Triple H's camp. Everybody is concerned about the new direction for NXT. And all of this is leading to a high level of toxicity backstage that is now hurting NXT as a brand as a whole. So we're going to go over that and everything else that happened this week right here on the podcast. Today, sponsored by Magic Spoon Cereal, folks. I don't know what you guys are doing for breakfast. I hardly ever have breakfast. I know it's the most important meal of the day, but I'll tell you what, man. If Magic Spoon was on the menu every single morning, you would not hear a peep out of me. This cereal is one of the most delicious and basically healthy cereal options you could possibly find anywhere. And they're sponsoring the podcast today, man. Magic Spoon. Make sure you guys go to magicspoon.com/script. You guys can actually save $5 off Magic Spoon purchases today using magicspoon.com/script. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show, but I want to thank them, as always, for once again being a part of this major, historic month right here on Off the Script. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. We are very, very close. And I've been loving the growth on Twitter, man. Very close to 33,000 followers on Twitter. So make sure you guys go and do that. It's the best place to find me. I'll be all over Twitter during these major historic shows, Rampage and All Out and all the dynamites leading up to this historic moment. CM Punk's impending debut potentially next week. Daniel Bryan being brought into All Elite Wrestling. WWE stuff as well, but nothing on WWE TV is even coming off as exciting or important. And that's including John Cena and Roman Reigns, man. I don't believe how lackadaisical WWE has taken this John Cena and Roman Reigns once-in-a-lifetime feud, seeing where Roman Reigns is right now, and they're dropping the ball big time. Now, they could ramp it up tonight on SmackDown. I'm recording this before SmackDown goes live at 8 p.m. on Fox, but they've done nothing to get me excited about this potential big money match, historic match with John Cena being back for just a limited time, and Roman Reigns portraying the greatest run character, heel, of his entire career. They've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. But that's WWE's MO. Nothing. There's no fun that comes out of anything WWE related. Just the way it is, folks. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about AEW, and I'm excited about everything that's going on. I want to be excited for SummerSlam, but WWE has really done a crap job at building everybody up and getting people excited about what supposedly is reportedly WWE's biggest show of the year internally. Unbelievable, man. But if you guys want my thoughts throughout this entire month, Twitter is where you can find me. Best place to keep up to date on the channel as well. Also got on Instagram. I'd love to get to 10,000 followers because my profile gets a little bit more enhanced when I reach that 10,000 follower plateau. So if you guys go over there and follow me on Instagram, I would really, really appreciate it as well. If you guys missed any of the content on the channel, man, we were busy this week. Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, an extra regarding Adam Cole and Bray Wyatt and his cryptic tweets and him following Tony Khan on Instagram. So I went over all of that. News on Ric Flair. I got additional follow-ups on that today as well. But we did put out an extra this week. So go and check all that stuff out. Friday Night SmackDown live stream, AEW Rampage live stream on Friday night. Everything is on the homepage. Go and check all of that out. Also, guys, I got news, and this is big. This is big. I got new merchandise coming out, which I can't wait to unveil to you guys because this is one of my favorite designs. I'm having it all professionally hand-drawn, man. This is going to be a big deal. I love this shirt, man. If you guys love video games as much as I do, it's a very inspired Final Fantasy-esque design that we're going to incorporate and make WWE-esque. If you guys know anything about me and my hatred for everybody in Titan Tower, that's all I'll give you. This is going to be an absolutely epic design. But as far as the current merchandise goes, man, Bonfire is now partnered with YouTube. And all of my merchandise has been exclusively on Bonfire. So if you guys are too lazy to go over to bonfire.com when I mention it here on the show, or you guys just don't care, now it's going to be staring you right in the face. Because as you guys watch this, hopefully they reviewed and confirmed all of my merchandise. If you guys go to the bottom of the page and you see right under the video screen, you'll see Bonfire merchandise. All of the most popular designs, including the Summer Scam design, the JD's Negan design, Team JD, the original design, and the JD's Elite. So if you guys want to go and check that out, if you guys are interested in any merchandise, Bonfire is now partnered with YouTube, and all of my merchandise is now going to appear at the bottom of the screen as you're watching a video or if you're watching a live stream, man. This is a big, big deal. More eyes on the merchandise. So if you guys want that, click whatever you want. It'll take you right to the page. You don't got to do anything, man. Go and support. I would really, really appreciate it. Also, guys, make sure you go and hit that thumbs up. It's always a big deal. And hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications as well. And if you want to support the Patreon page, you could certainly do that. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Let's get into the news, man. I want to start at the top. Big congratulations to Johnny Gargano and Candice LaRae. They have announced that they have a baby on the way. Baby wrestling is on the way. Congratulations to both. I love them both. Candice LaRae is one of my favorites in the NXT women's division. Johnny Gargano has been the heart and soul of NXT ever since he stepped foot on the brand. He's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Johnny Gargano and Candice LaRae are about to welcome a new baby into this world. Candice actually went to her Instagram account and kind of talked about what she's got going on and what's going to be with her status on NXT. She said this, and I quote, "Just when I didn't think I could possibly be any happier, you proved me completely wrong. My heart is so full of love and support that I never expected. This road for me and Johnny has been long, and I've had days where I thought this would never happen for us. It's hard as a woman to choose between your career, a career that you wanted since childhood, and growing a life inside of you. There never seems to be a right time. I've been a wrestler for 19 years, and it's been my constant since I was a little girl. It's my first love. It's given me irreplaceable friends, a brother, experiences that I would have never had otherwise, the blessing of traveling the world, the ability to make an impact on people's lives, and last but not least, a husband. I don't plan on being away until I absolutely have to. Indy Hartwell clearly needs me, and I want to be there for my locker room of girls as long as I possibly can. However, I do have to take a step back from my favorite part of this business for a while, physically wrestling. But I know this little one is going to be so very worth every second away from the ring. I'm incredibly thankful for the love and support from everyone. It's helped me feel at peace and whole, and I'm sure this little one growing inside me feels every bit of it too. I'm incredibly lucky. Thank you all. I love you. 3,000, end quote. Congratulations to both of them. You know, I was joking around with a couple of people that were asking me my opinion on this particular situation. You know, they can do whatever they want. You know, Johnny Gargano and Candice LaRae can do whatever they want, but I find it incredibly coincidental that the new edict or the new mindset in WWE is no more quote-unquote midgets over 30, no more, and nobody under 250, 260 pounds or whatever Johnny Ace, Vince McMahon, and Bruce Pritchard are contemplating as their new vision for NXT. I find it completely hilarious that Candice LaRae is now going away and kind of removing herself from this situation. I don't know where Johnny Gargano sits in all of this, but he'll probably be featured on TV no matter what. As I said, he's the heart and soul of NXT, but, you know, it's now or never. And right now is a good a time as any to get off of WWE television on Tuesday night and do what you got to do, man. If you want to start a family, God bless you. Right now is the perfect time with NXT being at such a low point. And it goes to show you how influential and how much Candice LaRae cares, not only about NXT, but the women's locker room on Tuesday night. She don't have to be there, but she said she wants to be there until it's absolutely necessary for her to just go and take care of herself. And she wants to be around that locker room. She wants to continue giving that locker room guidance. She wants to continue molding that locker room in what she thinks it should be. And I love that. I think that's absolutely awesome because that's the same mentality that Johnny Gargano has because he has not wanted to leave NXT. If it was up to him, he'd probably stay with NXT for his entire career. He loves what happens there. That's his show. It's his brand. He's been the face of that brand ever since he walked in there. So I love that, man. So congratulations to both of them. And I will miss Candice LaRae on television. No doubt about it. Somebody that I missed on television for the last 7-8 months is absolutely limitless. Now, I've joked around, and I've stated that he is limited, Keith Lee. I will not be saying that anymore. Only in WWE's eyes, if they book him incorrectly and they drop the ball once again on Keith Lee, will I joke around, because that's what I see coming from them. That's what I see that their mentality is when it comes to somebody like Keith Lee. It's an easy joke to make on the show. But Keith Lee is, honestly, everything that he says he is, and he is indeed limitless. Now, Keith Lee came out with a video on his YouTube channel and documented what was going on in the time that he was away for 7 months. He said he recorded a video that went 13 minutes. He went back and recorded it again because he wanted to just kind of get down to the nitty-gritty. He wanted to tell everybody exactly what was going on without too much fluff. So he went right for the kill, and he told everybody exactly what was going on. I'll get into what he said and what was ailing Keith Lee and why exactly he was off television in just a second. But I want to come on here and tell everybody here that what we do on this show is speculate. Okay? It's everybody's job in the IWC, dirt sheets, podcasters, so-and-so, to speculate. Speculation leads to good conversation. Speculation is healthy. Speculation is done by everybody in the community. I'm not going to sit here and really blame anybody on anything that was speculated in regards to anything, let alone Keith Lee, okay? Dirt sheets speculate. That's how they get clicks. That's how they get audience. That's how they get views. Everybody speculates. The one thing that I did not like in the aftermath of this Keith Lee reveal were certain people of the IWC jumping on their high horse, sitting on their imaginary thrones, and shaming everybody that speculated. That's the part I didn't like. And it makes me sick to my stomach because they feel that they have the right to blame everybody that quote-unquote speculated, and they don't take any part or any blame in anything regarding every Keith Lee story. Everybody under the sun put out stories about why Keith Lee was out, whether it was, oh, they sent him back to the Performance Center. Oh, they sent him back to go get retrained because Vince McMahon didn't like the way he wrestled in the ring. Oh, they took him off TV because WWE thinks he has a weight problem, which is how they usually think. What I said was not too far off in what WWE's mentality is. Just recently, everybody reported that Bray Wyatt had mental health issues. Meanwhile, that had absolutely nothing to do with why he was off television. It was reported that Bray Wyatt had no mental health issues, none at all. He was 100% cleared, and he was ready to be back on television as of Monday in Orlando. And he was supposed to have SummerSlam plans for himself leading to SummerSlam in Las Vegas. Everybody reported that he had mental health issues. That is the community. That's the dirt sheets. Those are the analysts, the journalists speculating. So I don't see a difference. I don't really see a difference in the two stories, between the two stories, okay? Everybody speculates. WWE has conditioned us to think a certain way that we do. It's WWE that has conditioned not only their fans, but everybody in the community to think a certain way because of the actions that they have brought upon themselves and the actions that they have showed everybody. How they handle things, how they hide things, how they manipulate things, how they fire people, how they lie to everybody. And then you have certain people who think WWE does no wrong. You got people like me that loves to call them out on their bullshit, knowing that nothing changes. WWE has conditioned its audience far and wide to be the way that they are. WWE has conditioned us to speculate on things. It's just the fact of the matter, folks. But it does make me sick to my stomach that everybody now is jumping on those that speculated. Meanwhile, motherfucker, you are just as guilty as everybody else. So who the fuck are you? And this is mainly towards some UK reporters, analysts, podcasters that want to rub elbows and they're afraid of not getting that next interview. All those people think they're on some fucking high horse. Meanwhile, you're just as much to blame as anybody else. Speculation is healthy. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay? I apologize for comments that I said. If what I said offended you in any way, what I said about Keith Lee and why I thought he was out offended you in any way, I apologize. But WWE has conditioned us to be a certain way, and that's just the fact of the matter here. Okay? I know what Keith Lee could be on WWE television. I know you do. I know everybody knows the level that Keith Lee should be at. But I'm sorry that I'm piecing puzzle piece number one into the rest of the puzzle when it comes to WWE calling up talent from NXT. They don't really have a great track record of doing things that they should be doing with talent that Triple H molded, pretty much gave Vince McMahon ready to be on TV, and then pushed at a high level. They dropped the ball time and time and time and time and time again. So excuse me for thinking with that type of mentality as I project my opinions and thoughts onto you. It's what we see. WWE is as guilty as anybody else. Keith Lee should be a world champion. I know he should be a world champion. This guy should be at the top of the fucking card right out of NXT. And they tried to do that. They dropped the ball. They tried to do that, but they changed everything about him. So I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that that's the way things ended up. Until I see things change, because I know Keith Lee, A, deserves it, B, is the type of performer we all want on our roster. Main event guy, world champion, WrestleMania main event written all over him. That's the way it should be. That's where I know he should be. That's where I know you guys think he should be. That's what I think. When I talk about things creatively, it's because I believe in guys like Keith Lee. Now, he went on YouTube and he talked about his fight against death after COVID-19 and the complications that followed from COVID-19. That is what kept him off television. Keith Lee explained in a video upload Thursday why he was unable to wrestle for 5 months from February to July. Lee said he contracted COVID-19 this January and was off television for about 3 weeks because of it. He came back for one match against Riddle in February, but he got the call the next day informing him that there was something off in his blood. Some people may have experienced this thing where there's an inflammation in the heart or lungs. For me, it was in the heart. That led to very scary times. I was basically forbidden from training or any activity outside of a light walk. There was a fear that doing more than that there would be a chance that I could just up and pass away, he says. Lee said this was the case for about 3 or 4 months. He had several MRIs on his heart. So this became a fight against death, so to speak, he said. And it took up until the company sent me to Pittsburgh to go get looked at. It was to the point where I was about to have to undergo some genetic testing and all sorts of things because it was thought that there was a potential that I could have heart disease of sorts. Very fortunately, even though it took a long time, we waited that amount of time for that allowed the inflammation in my heart to eventually go down to normal. So even though the first MRI was bad and the second one was worse, over time things got better here and there. And eventually after that visit, I was cleared to try and get back into some sort of shape. And he laughs because sitting at home all those months and not being able to physically compete and train and work out, clearly, he was mentally preparing himself to get back into shape once he could. That's where the real struggle came. But yeah, it took some time. And to be honest, it wasn't even certain that I was going to show up in Dallas in terms of being on TV. End quote. Now, Lee made his return to the ring on the July 19th episode of Monday Night Raw from the American Airlines Center in Dallas. He lost a non-title match against champion Bobby Lashley on that show, which goes right into the basket of things I have a problem with, and that is the way he's been handled up until this point, minus the COVID reveal and the heart inflammation, heart problem reveal. The basket of problems that I have with WWE and Keith Lee. If they wanted to push this guy right out of the gate and bring him back in this momentous occasion, why didn't they do that? So what am I supposed to think when WWE puts Bobby Lashley in a match with Keith Lee and the guy gets buried? And he's nothing more than a fucking footnote for Bill Goldberg in a match with Lashley and Goldberg that nobody asked for. Don't we all think Keith Lee, quote unquote, deserves better? That's where my problem is, and that's why I say the shit that I do. It's all about creative. And they've done nothing to show me that they plan to push this guy in a prominent way. Does Vince McMahon love him? I don't know. They got to have some sort of love for him. They kept him off TV. Good on them and their medical staff for keeping him off TV. Kudos to them. They did their fucking job. But I'm not going to sit here and apologize to WWE because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck what I think, what you think, or what anybody else thinks. So I'm not apologizing to WWE. I'm not. WWE, again, has conditioned us to think the way that we do, and Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee on Monday Night Raw is the bane of my argument. This is why I have a problem with the way that they handle people creatively. It's not the way it should be. Now, is WWE going to push Keith Lee? Who knows? He beat Cross. Didn't really do anything for him. Cross is a fucking loser. WWE doesn't give a shit about Cross being from NXT. They don't give a shit about him being the NXT champion. They don't give a fuck about the NXT championship. They haven't given a fuck about any NXT talent that they've called up in the last 2-3 years. So why am I going to start now and say WWE has plans for Keith Lee? No, they don't. Until I see Keith Lee win a King of the Ring, until I see Keith Lee win a Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania and main event WrestleMania for a WWE championship. Maybe he's in line to take down Roman. Maybe he's in line to take down the WWE champion on Monday Night Raw. I don't know. Until those things happen, I will not be saying anything in regards to changing my stance on how I think they handle people creatively. This is the way that they think. This is the way that they operate. You don't think WWE thinks people are overweight? Kevin Owens got zinged and made fun of because of his weight for years. People citing that he was fat for the fact that he was large and he wasn't the way WWE typically goes after male talent. They didn't like the way he looked, or he didn't look the way that they presumably look at wrestlers, quote unquote, in the modern era. Samoa Joe was never hired because WWE thought, quote unquote, he was a fat Samoan. WWE doesn't push people like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and everybody else like that because they're too small. They use the term midgets, which I'm assuming is not politically fucking correct, right? How do you think the roster feels when they hear that report from Dave Meltzer? WWE doesn't want any more midgets. So you mean to tell me that I would be wrong in thinking that WWE thought anybody, not just Keith Lee, anybody is fat? And his weight problem being the reason why they don't push him on TV? Give me a fucking break with this shit, man. Again, I apologize if I offended everybody after this news came out with the comments that I've stated previously. But I'm not going to change my stance on what I think about WWE. Not one single bit. Not one. I will say from this point on, I'm not going to make fun of Keith Lee about him being limited. Because this is a real life situation. God bless Keith Lee. God bless Mia Yim and the way he put her over. He explained in this video that she bypassed a position in the Royal Rumble to further her career to stay at home and take care of him. Everybody should be as lucky as Keith Lee to have somebody in their life like Mia Yim, who said, you know what, you are the most important thing in my world. Fuck the Royal Rumble and fuck whatever plans they supposedly have for me. Don't you think after all of this, WWE should be in line to push Keith Lee up to the top of the card? Don't you think after all of this, that WWE is set to feature Mia Yim on television? But deep down, deep in my soul, I have a feeling that even after everybody has shown them love and support after what came out and what came to light now as to why he was out, I have a sneaking suspicion that WWE doesn't give a shit. I don't. Unless I see things change firsthand on TV and we see gold around this guy's waist or this guy be propelled to the main event scene, I'm not going to change my stance. I have a sneaking suspicion that sooner rather than later, they're both going to be fucking released. Just the way things have happened in the last 12 to 18 months on WWE side, releasing over 100 talents since the beginning of the pandemic. Not going to change my stance on that. Are we going to see Mia Yim on TV? WWE typically, this has gotten Keith Lee more over than anything he's done on WWE television. Now people want to see Keith Lee. When was the last time WWE gave you something that you wanted? I can't remember. They usually are in the business to give you what you don't want. They're usually in the business to give you the middle finger. Fuck the fans, says WWE. WWE doesn't like when somebody gets themselves over off of what they have planned internally. Because you know how that works out. So give me a break about everybody sitting on your high horse in regards to Keith Lee, man. Everybody is to blame, not just specifically the people that quote-unquote speculated about why he was off TV. Every fucking report you see, unless it's from a solid source with fucking backup. Everything in this community is speculation. You're no different. Moving on here. WWE, I mentioned King of the Ring. There is plans for a men's and women's Queen of the Ring. WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia on October 21st for its next pay-per-view. And that is, I don't know what it's going to be, Crown Jewel, Super Showdown, who the fuck cares? These shows usually end up being completely useless. It was previously reported that WWE plans to hold a Queen of the Ring tournament, with it starting October 8th on SmackDown and continuing on the October 11th episode of Monday Night Raw. Seeing where the current women's division is right now, that is shaping up to be terrible television. It could also kind of lend itself to being the return of Becky Lynch. I could see her winning the Queen of the Ring. I could see WWE building this entire tournament around Becky Lynch to get her back in contention for the championship that she never lost. I'm just throwing that out there. Because we all know Charlotte is the queen, and WWE would love to crown Charlotte the Queen of the Ring, but I don't know how much WWE management right now is in favor of Charlotte regarding anything. I think she's fell down a couple of pegs from when we last saw her at the top a couple of years ago. WWE is all about Becky Lynch and the return of Becky Lynch. Andrew Zarian of the Madman Podcast reported today, actually, on Friday, that the company will also hold a King of the Ring tournament, with it starting in October as well. Just like the women, the men will also have their finals take place in Saudi Arabia. The tournament will feature talent from the main roster, both on Raw and SmackDown. I once said, once upon a time, that WWE should not only include Raw and SmackDown, but also give an opportunity to the NXT roster, both women's and men's. But that's not going to happen, being that WWE pretty much is killing NXT dead. They don't give a fuck about the midgets on NXT television. So good luck with that. Baron Corbin was the last winner of the King of the Ring tournament. He beat Chad Gable in the finals back in 2019. This could be a way for Baron Corbin to right himself, get back on the right track after being homeless and poor and without any money. So we will see what happens there. But King Nakamura, hopefully he defends his quote-unquote crown that he quote-unquote stolen from Baron Corbin. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not really excited about it as in previous years. But if WWE does the same thing that they did with the 2019 version, which I thought was great, and really hypes that up over the weeks to come on Monday and Friday night, not only will it give reason to watch Raw and SmackDown, but I don't know if anybody in WWE management or creative knows this, tournaments are a great way to get people over on television, especially those that have been lost on WWE television. Guys like Ali, guys like Mansoor, guys like Humberto Carrillo, guys like Ricochet. You could use that platform to give those guys some momentum, some wins, some really great competitive matches, and it's going to be great. Fans are back in attendance. It could be great. We'll see what happens. WWE has a lot of solid women on the roster right now. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch will be back. Toni Storm, Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart, Piper Niven, Doudrop, Asuka, Naomi. WWE has some solid women to put in that turn. Charlotte, they could really make it competitive. It should be for the elite. We'll see what happens. I don't know how they're going to come up with who's in the tournament. Are there going to be qualifying matches? Are they going to just be handpicked? How are you going about picking the men and women for these tournaments? I don't know. Those are things WWE usually just throws to the wayside and doesn't even concentrate on. They just give it to you, and it doesn't really make any sense. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm excited for it, but not excited for it at the same time because it's WWE. My level of excitement only goes so far. Braun Strowman. Speaking of which, Braun Strowman has some really, really cool stuff planned for an in-ring return. So not only are we seeing the return of a queen and king of the ring, we may be seeing a WWE return for Braun Strowman. Now, there were rumors, speculation, because that's what we do, speculation that WWE is thinking about bringing back Braun Strowman into the company. Adam, share. Is it Cher or Sher? Adam Strowman, formerly known as Braun Strowman in WWE, has teased some big plans regarding an in-ring return. It's already been reported that he'll be at the big QPW Super Slam show in Qatar on February 26th, 2022. But other than that, there hasn't been very much said about Braun Strowman on the wrestling front. On his Instagram stories recently, Braun Strowman has commented about his potential return to the pro wrestling industry. When asked if there were any plans for such a thing, he replied with this, and I quote, "I've got a lot of really, really cool stuff in the works. I'm really excited to share it with everyone. Just gotta wait a little bit longer. It's coming. You'll see." He does bring some name value, being that he was a WWE superstar. He competed on several WrestleManias. He's a former Universal Champion. So there is some name value in Braun Strowman. And a lot of people have speculated as well. Speculated! As if you guys don't know the theme of this show, man. Speculation that he may end up in AEW, that AEW would be interested in picking him up. Paul White said that AEW should pick up Braun Strowman. Mark Henry said that they should pick up Braun Strowman. I do not agree with Mark Henry at all, because Braun Strowman is absolutely the opposite of what AEW should be doing. No Braun Strowman needed for AEW Dynamite at all. Don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. It's actually a joke. They want to stay away from that. Oh, AEW hires nothing with WWE quote-unquote rejects or failures. Then please don't put yourself in that camp, because you're only adding fuel to that fire, and you don't want that coming down upon you. You really don't. He brings no value as far as what he does in the ring. None. Give me a break. But Braun Strowman, I do think that he ends up back with WWE. I do. I don't see him in New Japan. I don't see him in MLW or Impact. I don't know. I just don't see it. I think WWE is going to plan to bring him back, plan to negotiate with him, bring him back under a much smaller deal, not the $1.2 million that he was making. It's a waste of money. Renegotiate his deal, bring him back, and we'll see what happens. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he fits anywhere outside of WWE. But with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk joining AEW, WWE is going out and getting Braun Strowman back. That'll show him. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Bray Wyatt, mental health rumors have been debunked after community speculation. Throwing that out there. Bray Wyatt mental health rumors have been debunked. Wyndham Rotunda got released on July 31st. This added fuel to the rumors about his health, but apparently these rumors have been unfounded. The rumors gained steam over the summer because Wyatt hasn't wrestled much in 2021 and has not wrestled since WrestleMania. His last appearance was during a Firefly Funhouse on the night after Raw, or not after WrestleMania, on that Raw that seemed to foreshadow changes for his character. Some say that in hindsight, it looked like he may have been foreshadowing his exit from WWE. There was a story circulating a while back claiming that it was mental health issues that were keeping him from returning to action with WWE. Fightful is reporting that sources connected to Wyatt confirmed that the rumors about his mental health were indeed false. It was also confirmed that Wyatt is 100% healthy, and he was scheduled to return in Orlando for this past week's Raw. Wyatt has been advertised for events in August after recently getting cleared to wrestle. Earlier this week, Wyatt sent out a tweet that seems to have teased a dramatically different version of his character since he's no longer with WWE. It has to be assumed that he will debut with a new character and a new name elsewhere whenever his non-compete expires. You guys want to go and watch the video that I posted on Bray Wyatt with the extra that I did on the channel? It's on the homepage. Go check that out, or you can, guys, simply go to his Twitter page and go see what he posted, because he doesn't really post much of anything, but it's there for you guys to see. You know, I've been thinking about Bray Wyatt. I've been thinking about Bray Wyatt and what he has done since his release, cryptically tweeting there and here, and on Instagram following TK, Tony Khan. Can it all be a huge ruse? Could he still be with WWE? I want to believe not, because they don't deserve guys like Adam Cole. They don't deserve guys like Bray Wyatt. They don't deserve guys like Malachi Black, Andrade. They don't. They don't. As soon as WWE sinks their claws into you, they want to own you. They want to control you. They want to tell you what they think should be and what is best. Meanwhile, they don't know a fucking headlock from a fucking wrist lock, a wristwatch from a wrist lock, like Gorilla Monsoon said. They don't know anything when it comes to professional wrestling. They want to change how professional wrestling is viewed internally in WWE. They don't want you to go out and watch anybody else. They want you to think what they do is professional wrestling. Meanwhile, I don't even consider WWE professional wrestling at this point. It's a fucking circus. It's entertainment, first and foremost, and then pro wrestling falls maybe fourth or fifth on the totem pole of priorities in WWE. I want to think Bray Wyatt is going somewhere else. But WWE on Raw, they still have Bray Wyatt merchandise being sold in the venues. They still have Bray Wyatt merchandise everywhere they go, being sold at the concession stands, on WWE Shop. There was a rumor, I think, I don't know if it's true or not, that they have new Bray Wyatt merchandise that they just released on WWE Shop. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not. Maybe it's an older model that really wasn't pushed, and now they're pushing it just to get rid of the backlog of stock they have. I don't know. But there were people in attendance at the Orlando show on Monday that said WWE showed a video package of Bray Wyatt in the venue while we were watching commercials at home. They showed a Bray Wyatt vignette or something along the lines of Bray Wyatt. Maybe I think it was Mick Foley talking about Bray Wyatt and how great the character is, how great the Fiend is. Why would they show that? Why would they show that knowing that he's not there anymore? Then we got the chance of we want Wyatt. I don't know. Then Bray goes on social media and says, it cannot die or you can't kill it. I don't know, man. Would WWE, would Wyndham be in cahoots to possibly go all the way with Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda being released, make it official, but at the same time do all these things that look legit on the back end? It's all a big fucking storyline. It's all a big ruse. Put out the tweet that they future endeavored him. We wish him well in his future endeavors. Take him off TV, right? Is it a situation where he's still with the company, or this is one big storyline for him to be reintroduced under whatever he has next in the evolution of the Fiend? I don't know. I think that's well beyond WWE's creativity. I think that's well beyond WWE's boundaries. I don't think they would take a risk like that. When they cut money, I do think that they cut money on the payroll. That's all they're about now. Saving more money on the back end so Nick Khan could buy a $10 million Paradise Mansion somewhere instead of a $7 million Paradise Mansion. But what do you guys think? Or is he really a free agent? 90 days, up on October 29th. He ends up in AEW as some sort of leader or confidant in the Dark Order. I don't know. So it's an interesting situation there. But we all know why Bray Wyatt was released. I want you guys to be aware of this. Bray Wyatt wasn't released for mental health reasons. Bray Wyatt wasn't released for budget cut reasons. You don't cut your number one merchandise seller, even though he was out, for a long period of time. You don't cut your number one merchandise seller in the entire company for budget cut reasons, because that's the guy you're actually making a return on your investment in. He's making you mega bank as far as the merchandise you put out, from belts, shirts, gloves, masks, and everything, puppets. Are you fucking serious? You really want me to believe that it's budget cut reasons? Bray Wyatt was cut because of creative indifference. WWE does not want what they can't control 100%. Bray Wyatt was so protective over that gimmick and his story and the evolution of his character that Vince couldn't do it completely in his own way. So he said, you know what? I own what you have anyway, so get the fuck out of here. And we're going to continue making money off of you. And Alexa still has some of that retained in her gimmick. Bray Wyatt wasn't cut for mental health, and Bray Wyatt wasn't cut for budget cut reasons. Just want you guys to be aware about that. And of course, that is speculation, but I'm pretty confident that's the reason why Bray Wyatt was cut. How many of you guys are like me and you skip breakfast every single morning? Whether you don't have time to do it, you're in a rush to get to work, or you just simply skip breakfast like I do and go right for the caffeine. It's unhealthy, I know. But there's not really many options, healthy options anyway, in the morning for breakfast. I used to love cereal. I can't do eggs every morning. I can't do the waffles and the pancakes. I used to love cereal. Cereal every morning is great, but most of the cereals that you find in the supermarket are full of sugar. They're completely unhealthy. You can't put that stuff in your body and eat it every single day. So I'm glad I finally, after all these years in my adult life, cereal's back as a breakfast option, man. And that is possible with Magic Spoon cereal. 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. And also, get this, only 140 calories, man. They got best-selling flavors in a 4-flavor variety pack, including cocoa, fruity, peanut butter, and my personal favorites, frosted. They also have other flavors that I haven't even tried yet, man. And get this, I'm super excited about these flavors. Listen to this. Cookies and cream, maple waffle, cinnamon, and blueberry. Man, oh man, if I didn't love Magic Spoon before, you're speaking my language with those flavors right off the top, man. Cookies and cream? Are you serious? Cinnamon? Blueberry? Oh my God, man. Your favorite cereal just got better. And the great flavors, man, listen. If I tell you these names and the flavors, they taste exactly like those flavors, man. The flavor is so good. It doesn't even taste like you would imagine healthy. It tastes like the cereal that you grow up with, but it's healthy for you, man. It is so great. It tastes amazing, and it's honestly too good to be true. It's keto-friendly, it's gluten-free, it's grain-free, it's soy-free, and it's low-carb. If you guys want something great for yourself in the morning, you gotta try Magic Spoon, man. Make sure you guys go to magicspoon.com and use the code SCRIPT at checkout. You could do that, or you could just use the link that I provided down below, magicspoon.com/script, and you're gonna save, get this, $5 off today. That is magicspoon.com/script, or you could use the promo code at the end of checkout, code SCRIPT, magicspoon.com/script, save $5 off, and I want to thank them for making my mornings ever so beautiful and healthy right here on Off the Script. Shifting gears to NXT now, man. WWE executives, they are killing NXT. Executives meaning Johnny Laurinaitis. I'm sorry, kid, it's not you. It's us. It's budget cuts. People power. Good luck in your future endeavors. Johnny Ace, Johnny Laurinaitis, Nick Khan, the Wrath of Khan, the biggest deal in the industry, Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, and my good old buddy Bruce Pritchard. They all have a hand in the death of NXT. Let us pray. NXT, I wish you well in your future endeavors. You once upon a time brought us joy, logic, creative freedom. excellent takeover shows that rivaled every main roster show you competed against on that very same weekend, putting the main roster and their creative and their actions to shame. God rest your soul, NXT. We will meet once again. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Goodbye, NXT. Got some holy water. I douse the camera and the microphone with some holy water. God bless you all. Good luck, Triple H, in your future endeavors. So WWE executives are changing the way NXT is viewed, how NXT works internally. But USA executives are disappointed, reportedly. Only after a couple of months of NXT being moved to Tuesday night, the gold brand is dead. NXT is dead. Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast tweeted out 2 posts describing what is being heard from the higher-ups in USA Network. It's not that they are angry, but they are more disappointed. As we all know, that can sometimes be worse. He says, and I quote, hearing a lot of chatter from USA Network higher-ranked representatives regarding the releases from NXT. Personally, I'm disappointed with how it's going, one of them cited. The perception from many is that these upcoming changes will be negative. Perception means everything, especially when you are working with partners who are not pro wrestling fans and have no knowledge of the talent. In reality, are these changes coming to NXT a bad thing? Only time will tell. End quote from Andrew Zarian, who does excellent work, and I'm happy for his success, my bro, Andrew Zarian. No one but WWE officials are the only ones who apparently know exactly what's going on, and it definitely seems like some sort of change is ahead for the company as a whole. Now, it all starts with Adam Cole. WWE let this guy's contract expire because of stupid decisions, just people running around backstage not knowing what the fucking right hand is doing compared to the left. They're walking around because they're just clueless about what's going on in the day-to-day activities. Things are constantly changing. USA, they're looking at the Adam Cole situation. They're looking at the releases from Friday Night SmackDown. They're looking at Pete Dunne's situation. And they're hearing these stories. I'm sure they're hearing these stories. I would not, and this is, again, speculation on my behalf. WWE, the way that they've internally killed NXT, I don't know when their deal is up with USA Network. I don't know if it's a 2-year, 3-year thing. I don't. Maybe it's a 3-year thing. I wish I could find out what's going on there as far as the TV rights deal and when that is up. When that is up, I don't think USA Network is going to renew NXT. I don't. With Vince McMahon's current vision for NXT, I don't know who's going to want to watch NXT. There's no reason for it to be on USA Network now that you aren't competing with an AEW. So why is it on the USA Network? WWE is getting a cool $40 or $50 million in TV rights deals, but at this point, USA Network is probably looking at themselves, why am I spending $50 on something that WWE themselves doesn't even give a shit about? They've actively killed everything that we originally paid for, so why am I paying for it? Doesn't make sense to me. Move it back to the WWE Network on the Peacock, and move it back to being 1 hour. Simple. Why does NXT need to be 2 hours? WWE actively killed NXT and used it as a shield to prevent AEW from gaining any traction. They didn't want the main roster to go up against AEW because then at that point, it would fall on the blame of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and Johnny Ace and everybody else associated with that fucking circus on Vince McMahon's side. So what did they do? They opted to put NXT in that role. And they opted to say, you know what? I don't want my hands in this. You go do it. So that when they fail, Vince can't take the blame for it. Triple H, you let me down. You're the one who is being blamed now for NXT's failure. You couldn't do it. Now we're punishing you. Go to the corner and sit by the wall. Go to your room. No TV, no video games, nothing for you. Until Vince McMahon says so. He was punished like a child. Triple H was punished like a child. They didn't know anything regarding these releases. They didn't know anything regarding prior call-ups. Vince does what he wants. His team does what he wants. Vince McMahon needs somebody. He goes and takes it. Doesn't even require Triple H is okay. Because who is Triple H, folks? Nobody. Nobody. WWE put Triple H in this position because they wanted to pin the blame on him when they inevitably knew that he was going to fail. Because they all knew. All the people hyping up Triple H. Oh, look at what Triple H is doing with the old NXT. It was at the height of the wrestling world, man. The greatest show on television. The brand with the most popularity. The brand with the fucking most momentum. Who was behind that? It was Triple H. You don't think people on Vince McMahon's side? You don't think people on Vince McMahon's side looked at Triple H? Oh, man. This is the guy that they all want. This guy's seemingly going to take over Vince McMahon's job when Vince is no longer around. He can't do it, or worse yet, dead. Triple H is going to be involved. He's going to be the leader. So what does that mean? Vince McMahon's vision is going to be changed to what Triple H was doing in NXT at the height of their popularity. All of Vince McMahon's team would actively be removed because Triple H has his own team. And nobody from Vince McMahon's side likes Triple H and his team, and nobody from Triple H's team likes Vince McMahon's team. So those guys on Vince McMahon's side, their names, their positions would be in jeopardy. Either losing positions of power or worse yet, fired because Triple H doesn't need them when he has his own team. Why do you think it was named Takeover? For a reason. It was named Takeover because Triple H was eventually going to take over. Not only every major independent market on the globe side, but in WWE as well. That's what was going on there. So, as far as this is concerned, USA Network, I can't see them re-upping NXT anymore. I think it's over and done with. With all these changes, it makes no sense for it to be on Tuesday night. I have made a stance, a tough decision to not cover NXT anymore. After these 13 releases or so, 14 releases, I'm putting my foot down. I'm putting my foot down. You actively killed the best thing in your company and didn't even give it time or use it to your advantage. You took this talent, you took all the work that Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom and William Regal and everybody associated with this brand that helped it mature and grow. You didn't even give them the time of day to take what they did for you and use it to the best of your ability. So if WWE doesn't care about everybody that came out of NXT, everybody that they released, if they don't care about the talent, why am I going to watch the talent knowing that they are doomed to fail anyway? There's no point. Why am I going to invest my time when I could be doing something else? I'm not going to give you my time anymore because clearly you showed that you don't give a fuck about our time. I don't see USA Network re-upping NXT. It's a waste of money. Adam Cole. There was a report about Adam Cole meeting with Vince McMahon. I got news on what was potentially talked about. But after the meeting last Friday at SmackDown, Adam Cole apparently, there is no huge push from WWE management to keep him, and the proposed creative plans for Adam Cole were quote-unquote not exciting. Now again, this is speculation, and this is coming from Ringside News. In an exclusive, I was told personally from the people that run Ringside News that they've had close to 300 exclusives since they started running exclusives, and they've gotten none of them wrong. None of them wrong. And I usually cite them on the show because I believe in what they say. If I didn't believe it, I'd say so. In this case, I believe everything in regards to Adam Cole and WWE management not keeping him or not pushing to keep him on their roster. And it's not that difficult to see, folks. I mean, open your fucking eyes. Have they ever given a shit about any other NXT talent to come up from the brand? Do they want to give preferential treatment to somebody like Adam Cole? Does Adam Cole fit their criteria of main event guy? Could he break through? Absolutely. He's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. But do you trust Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis? No. No, you don't. And if you do, you're lying to everybody. Adam Cole is not the type of guy that WWE is going to go out and really anchor themselves down in a room to discuss contract and creative plans. The only reason why they would negotiate and want to keep Adam Cole on the main roster is to keep him away from AEW. That is it. They have absolutely no fucking plans to use this guy in a priority manner on Monday or Friday night. They have no creative plans at all. You want to know what his creative plans are going to be? He'll be right in the mid-card, as useless as Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews, Sami Zayn, and Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown. That's exactly where he would end up. And then what's the next course of action? We see Adam Cole get buried on Monday night, and then we as a community complain. After everybody has the same fucking idea about what this guy should do because we all love his body of work. Get the fuck out. Get out! Adam Cole met with Vince McMahon. Apparently, Vince McMahon said he liked Adam Cole on a personal level. Yet people in the community, oh, this bodes well for him on the main roster. I could like you on a personal level, but I could think your fucking work is garbage. I don't give a fuck about what your work is. I like you on a personal level, bro. You and I have some similar interests. You're a fine gentleman. Why did Vince McMahon like Adam Cole on a personal level? Well, gee, I don't know. Adam Cole was a fucking free agent walking around the NXT locker room with no fucking contract, but the guy opted to go to his bosses and say, listen, Paul, I don't have a contract. I could go over there and join my buddies in AEW, but I'm telling you right now because apparently I looked at the paperwork and I don't have a fucking contract. You got me on TV. You want me to do this play with Kyle O'Reilly, but I got no contract. What are we going to do about that? This guy could have taken his paperwork, go and do what he wants to do on his own, and say, fuck everybody, fuck WWE, fuck HBK, fuck Triple H, fuck Vince McMahon. Could have went about doing his own thing and going into business for himself. But he didn't. Gee, I wonder why Adam Cole and Vince McMahon got along on a personal level. He's a company guy. Does Vince McMahon play Super Mario? Does Vince McMahon play Street Fighter? Does Vince McMahon play some fucking indie developer game that's unknown to everybody on Twitch? So what exactly is Vince McMahon going to relate to with Adam Cole on a personal level? Yes, they're going to talk video games. Give me a break. Vince McMahon related to Adam Cole on a personal level because he is a company guy and he did the respectable thing about telling his bosses what was going on with his contract instead of walking out and doing his own thing and giving the middle finger to WWE. That's why they related on a personal level. Meanwhile, Vince McMahon is looking at Adam Cole thinking the same thing that we all know he's thinking. Too small. What am I going to do with him? How am I going to see him in the ring against Lashley and McIntyre and Omos and Roman Reigns, Randy Orton? How am I going to look at this guy in the ring and believe this guy's a main event guy? Could Vince McMahon give Adam Cole the opportunity to go out there and get over? Yeah, he could. He could absolutely do that. But I don't see that happening. And when Vince McMahon sees Adam Cole in the ring, WWE will probably end up jobbing him out and beating that NXT out of him and punishing him because of where he came from. Oh, you signed. Now you're mine. Now I'm going to do with you what I want. At that point, it's all over. At that point, it's all over. So yeah, it means nothing for Adam Cole and his career because Vince McMahon enjoyed him and leveled with him on a personal level. Not going to happen. Ringside News asked around about Adam Cole's situation, and a tenured member of the writing team informed us that there is no huge push within the company to keep him. It was said that fans should not, and I quote, this is from the source talking to Ringside News, should not get their hopes up regarding his situation creatively, because there's just money being thrown his way for a role most people will not believe. End quote. Now, the rumor about him getting $1 million from WWE was false. That was speculation on Dave Meltzer's behalf. I don't know where that came from, but the $1 million offer, they said, and this source to Ringside News said, and I quote, I wouldn't put much stock into that $1 million offer. Has Tony Khan negotiated with Adam Cole? No. Is there interest? Absolutely. I'm sure he talks to his friends all the time, and they say, yeah, man, we want you in. We want to bring you in. There's interest. TK wants to talk to you when your contract's up. Did TK offer Adam Cole a contract? No, he physically cannot. Did he talk to Adam Cole about a contract situation? No, he did not, because he is a contracted employee. Tony Khan is not about to commit contract, infractions here. Contract tampering. Can't do that. He's not an idiot. He's a businessman. But when his contract is up after SummerSlam, you can guarantee fucking it that Tony Khan is going to be reaching for his phone. Yo, Matt, Nick, what's Cole's number, baby? And then a deal will be struck if Adam Cole has a fucking brain in his head. Do not give your life to WWE. There is so much more than WWE, especially with the way they are running the company right now, as you see it. He has to know that if he goes and signs a contract, that his days as a professional wrestler for the next 5 years, because they're going to lock him down for 5 years, are finished. Finished. I don't want to see him waste his prime years. I will be a fan, but I will be a disappointed fan in Adam Cole. Now, the very latest, this is the very, very latest in regards to Adam Cole and WWE and how things went with Vince McMahon, or went when he met Vince McMahon. Dave Meltzer is reporting this on the Observer side of things in the newsletter. Dave Meltzer added that as of last word, Cole has not decided on what he is going to do, so it is still possible that it could be done with the WWE by SummerSlam weekend. Meltzer added that Cole has a great relationship with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and WWE really wants to keep him. If Cole decides to stay, then he would start on the main roster. There are always exceptions, but usually guys who are Cole's height and weight typically are not booked as stars, so it will be interesting to see if Adam Cole is able to break through that ceiling. Although there were rumors saying otherwise, Tony Khan has said that he has not made an offer to Adam Cole, but one has to assume that AEW will want to offer him a contract after SummerSlam when he's free and clear. Now, Adam Cole is in plans up until SummerSlam weekend. TakeOver 36 will see Adam Cole go one-on-one with Kyle O'Reilly in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This is basically their new version of the 3 stages of hell that they did with Shawn Michaels, Triple H and Stone Cold. If you guys want to take a blast into the history of WWE, in this case, the first fall is a singles match, which O'Reilly wants. Adam Cole laughed it off. Adam Cole said his fall will be a street fight if needed, but he's going to beat Kyle O'Reilly in 2 falls. And the third fall, I should say, if needed, he says it's not going to go to a third fall. 2 falls, street fight. And then the third fall will be inside of a steel cage, and that fall was determined by William Regal. So we got a one-on-one match, street fight, and a steel cage. More than likely, these things go to the third and final round. In this case, I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Adam Cole, depending on his contract, he's going to put over Kyle O'Reilly anyway, because if he leaves for AEW, he's putting over O'Reilly. If he goes to the main roster, he's putting over O'Reilly. O'Reilly's not going anywhere. O'Reilly's going to be put over, and Adam Cole's going to do the job as if he's jumping from promotion to promotion. He's going to put him over on his way out. That's what's going to happen there. Major changes. The major changes in NXT, we don't know. We may see it happen after TakeOver, which I think will be the final TakeOver as we see it now. There still may be takeovers, but it's not going to be as what we remember it to be. WWE is discussing major changes to the NXT brand, including a new logo, lighting, and new presentation, because that's exactly what the show fucking needs. A new logo. They just got a new logo, new theme song as well. They just moved into the Capitol Wrestling Center from Full Sail University. New presentation. What does that mean? What is this new presentation for NXT? One has to wonder. What, 12 NXT wrestlers? There were 14 in total people released, but 12 wrestlers were released as part of WWE's house cleaning. Some of the names were surprising. Bronson Reed was one of them. Bobby Fish was the other. Mercedes Martinez was the other. PW Insider noted on their audio show this week that there has been talk of major changes coming to the NXT brand. Those changes would include a new logo, new lighting, and a focus on younger talent, along with a different format to the show. WrestlingNews.co heard several weeks ago that officials in the company realized that the NXT brand has gotten stale and that the look and feel of the show needed to change. One person in the company compared NXT's look to AEW's look as night and day. And this person admitted that AEW felt fresh, and that's why they won the ratings battle so many weeks when they were head-to-head. We heard a while back that the dark look of the show is something that is seen as being outdated, and there are plans for some upgrades. End quote. As far as presentation goes, this is why it should not be on USA Network. USA Network gave it the presentation that it did, and then you, because you didn't know any better, compared it to what AEW was doing on TNT. Look at these two shows from a casual person's viewing perspective. What are you going to watch if you're flipping between both shows? Are you going to watch Dynamite that has 5, 6, 7,000 fans in attendance, some nights upwards towards 10,000 people in attendance for a weekly Dynamite show? Are you going to watch that? Or are you going to watch the obvious developmental show that's got barricades and gates and bleachers that houses 200 fucking people at most? What are you going to watch? You're going to watch the lively show with all this energy? Or are you going to watch the fucking dead show where you can't even see fucking people's facial expressions because they got fucking masks on hiding behind barricaded gates? I don't know, man. Who's to blame for the fucking presentation of NXT? I think that's WWE. Yes, presentation is everything when flipping between both shows. You knew that going in, yet you opted to put AEW in, or NXT rather, in competition with AEW. Whose fault is that? It's Vince McMahon's fault. It's Bruce Pritchard's fault. It's WWE's management's team fault. That's their fault. New lighting. The new lighting the lighting itself was never a fucking problem to me. It was never a problem to me. Maybe it is to WWE because it's not too main roster-esque. But in WWE's eyes, why did they keep it dark? Because they don't want you to see the fucking very little people that are in attendance compared to what's going on Dynamite. The dark lighting hides all of the negative aspects of the show. Plus, I don't mind the dark lighting because I think WWE's main roster it's too polished. It's too bright. It's too smoky with the lighting and the fireworks and this and that and the graphics and all this other shit that WWE tends to do to make it seem like it's some extravagant fucking thing. I don't get it. I don't get how people, enjoy that type of production and presentation of WWE. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I never liked that aspect of WWE before. They just went and did, amped up the production. I don't mind the camera look or the 8K cameras that they do and are experimenting. I don't mind some of the little trinkets and ideas and aspects that they take from, football on Fox and kind of integrate it into WWE. But I don't like the overall polished look of the show. It don't even feel like a wrestling show. Wrestling to me is dark, grungy, gritty, right? Rock and roll, metal. It's like WWE makes it this star-studded production and it just fails to captivate the viewer. Sometimes I don't even feel like I'm watching a wrestling show. I don't. WWE wants you to think they're watching or you're watching a Broadway play. Like they're producing some fucking Broadway production. Meanwhile, NXT's got it right. I want my pro wrestling dark, dirty, gritty, grungy. Well, they want to change that. They want to make it more main roster-esque so people on the roster, I'm assuming, the talent get used to what is going to be when they advance to the main roster. They want to get them ready for the main roster quicker than what Triple H was doing. And I'll get into that. But the changes, I don't give a fuck what you do to the show. Let's move it back to the network. Get it off TV. I don't give a shit about what you do. It's over. You've already killed the brand, so why not go all the way? That's exactly what they're doing with these changes or possible changes to the brand. Now, WWE has added a new Senior Vice President of Talent, ID and Development, to bring change to NXT. Trent Wilfinger announced on Twitter that he's joined WWE as a Senior Vice President of Talent, ID and Development, and will work with James Kimball under the leadership, quote unquote, of Triple H to bring to life a game-changing vision and strategy to NXT. Wolfinger previously worked at Paul Borg Construction Company as the senior vice president and general manager for the sport division at Exos, a personalized performance training institute that reportedly generates $100 to $500 million in annual revenue. Prior to that, he worked in executive positions for the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Arizona Coyotes. As previously noted, Vince McMahon is making big changes to the NXT brand. The talk behind the scenes is that there are plans for a new logo, new lighting, and new presentation. McMahon also wants to revert back to the days when NXT was a true developmental system, with the idea being to create stars that can someday headline WrestleMania. Meanwhile, we have a bunch of them, or had a bunch of them, under Triple H's guidance and tutelage, and Vince McMahon seemed to think otherwise, either burying them or firing them, unfortunately. I don't know what his idea is of main event WrestleMania superstars, but I know that you released some pretty big hitters in the last couple of months. I don't know. And if you guys need any more concrete confirmation that Triple H is not in charge, there you go, folks. Senior Vice President of Talent, ID, and Development. This guy's going to be working under the leadership of Triple H. Triple H is no longer the leader of NXT, folks. Vince McMahon is now making changes to bring in people like Trent Wilfinger, and they're going to be the ones who are going to be in higher positions above Triple H. That's what it's becoming. Vince McMahon is already in the stages of building NXT in his own vision. This is the start of that. Vince McMahon wants no more midgets, and this is because Triple H failed to beat AEW in the ratings war on Wednesday night. Now, Meltzer talked about this, and I believe it 100% because this fits right into their criteria. It really does. Vince McMahon wants no more midgets, says Dave Meltzer. He provided more details on this and the changes coming to NXT. Meltzer said, and I quote, Paul Levesque and Shawn Michaels did not have anything to do with the recent cuts. It was all done by Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, and John Laurinaitis. The basic gist is that NXT is going to change in some way, and they think that a lot of it is because of the competitors being too small and too old. Meltzer noted that the original idea for NXT was it to be a developmental brand and to find and develop wrestlers who can main event WrestleMania. Meltzer said that means that they want more Roman Reigns-looking guys. The basic feeling is that they lost the war. This is the aftermath of that, and this is the new direction. Younger guys and bigger guys. The general feeling is that NXT has ventured out. Originally, it was competition for Ring of Honor. Then it became the competition for AEW when Ring of Honor started showing life and the independent scene started showing life. This was supposed to be them getting that fan base. Then it became the competition for AEW. What happened is, and now, they want it back to where it was. So there's cuts that were made, and these were the guys that were cut, and there's going to be changes. Power play is a weird word, but there's some divisive opinions about wrestling among key people in that company, and they are fighting for Vince's ear. And this is the ear that Vince has this week. Next week, he may listen to somebody else's ear, and he may go in a completely different direction, but that's what happened this week with the cuts. Meltzer added that the idea is to go back to the days of quote-unquote Curtis Axel when he was in NXT, and a memo was sent out describing what is wanted for the new NXT. Meltzer said the wording is no more midgets, no one's starting in their 30s. They want people who can be box office attractions and main characters, end quote. Now, what is interesting is that they're pushing to keep Adam Cole. But Adam Cole is the complete opposite of what the memo stated. In Meltzer's words, quote unquote, no midgets. Nobody over 30, and nobody that is the weight of Adam Cole, which right now is soaking, 180 pounds, 185 pounds, 5'8". He's listed as 6 foot. I never understood where that innuendo was coming from or that rumor was coming from. Adam Cole's not 6 foot. But Adam Cole is the very definition of what WWE wants to change in NXT. So why would anybody believe that Vince McMahon is set to give Adam Cole a big money contract and big creative plans on the main roster? There are no creative plans. And if so, they're shit. And there's no big push to keep Adam Cole because he is everything that they don't want moving forward with his vision of NXT. So if you need any more concrete evidence about Ringside News' report, there you go. Meltzer pretty much answered any of your possible what if. How is this true? I should wait for some other bigger outlet to report it. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on it. He just confirmed that Ringside News' report was true without actually mentioning their report. And piece the fucking puzzle together on your own. It's not that difficult to figure out. No more midgets. You know, I find this to be hilarious because, you know, a lot of people in the community were blaming Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and guys like that for the downfall of NXT. Meanwhile, these guys were at the height of NXT's popularity. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano were the lifeblood of that brand. Two guys that I looked at every single time I've seen them in the ring together, that storyline. Two guys that I saw as WrestleMania main event guys. I don't know how you don't look at those guys and don't see money in them on the main roster. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Pete Dunne, Santos Escobar, Adam Cole. Those guys. How can't you make money or desire to make money with names and talents like that? I feel bad for Adam Cole. I do. I feel bad for the Kyle O'Reillys and the Roderick Strongs and the Bobby Fishes. I do. WWE, you know, with all these recent releases and Vince releasing somebody like Bobby Fish and killing Diamond Mine as they just got started 4 weeks ago, Kyle O'Reilly stands no fucking chance at all on the main roster. I don't see any of these guys succeeding on the main roster. They were indie. WWE doesn't want indie. They don't want everybody that came from the indies adopting those methods and ideologies that they learned on the indies. They want, and this is why their changes are, or Vince's changes are being implemented. This is why the changes are happening. Vince McMahon is taking everything that Triple H's team did, and they're removing it. Vince McMahon wants to start from the ground up. He wants to take people that don't know shit about professional wrestling, and he wants to instill in them the WWE way from day one. He doesn't want to bring somebody else in who is from the indies, who's going to have a majority of what they do from the indies, especially on NXT television, because they're bringing in people that already know what to do somewhat, and WWE is just teaching them the ropes or guiding them in their own way. But they never really let go of that indie sense. And then that goes to the main roster. And then Vince McMahon has to get this indie guy who's doing indie shit, who's got an indie mentality, and he doesn't like it. So Vince McMahon's thinking, all right, I'm taking these guys who should already be well up in the WWE way of life. I got to get this person, that person, her, and this guy, and that guy, and this tag team, and whoever from NXT, and I got to beat the indie out of them when it should have been done in day one. Vince feels like he has to retrain them all over again, and he doesn't want that. So as Vince McMahon didn't watch anything that NXT was doing or didn't have an idea of what the training was about NXT and what they were doing with the NXT talent, now he's stepping in with his team to take it over completely, to have his team oversee it all. Triple H is now out. He's no longer in control. Shawn Michaels is now out. Everybody on Triple H's team is now out. Vince McMahon's getting his team in there to give you guys known names from lacrosse or football or the Olympics or college baseball or fucking some gymnast that you never heard of that looks great, that doesn't know a lick about professional wrestling. They want those names, bigger names, or bigger physiques, to mold into bigger names, to get that WWE way of life on day one instead of taking an Adam Cole from the indies who's still using what he learned on the indies and his wrestling method from the indies on the WWE roster. They don't want that. They look down upon that shit. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Take a group like Undisputed Era. Everything that they did was adopted from their days in the Indies. And WWE put all these guys together because they all came from the same place in Ring of Honor. They all came from the same place on the Indies. And then WWE actively broke them up because they wanted to branch them all off individually so that they may have a solo career away from each other. But that did more harm than good. Bobby Fish was never going to succeed on the main roster by himself. Kyle O'Reilly's never going to succeed by himself on the main roster. Roderick Strong, I'm surprised he wasn't a part of the recent releases because they fired his wife not too long ago as well. They all fit the mentality that WWE doesn't want. No more midgets. Nobody under 6 foot. Nobody 180 pounds. They're not main event guys. So why bother? But you actively broke up the Undisputed Era for good reasons. But the breakup of the Undisputed Era led to Bobby Fish's release because he's old. He's old, broken down. There's not much that WWE, Vince, Bruce, Nick Khan, Johnny Laurinaitis, there's not much that they can do with Bobby Fish. So he was cut. He was cut. Now, if you brought them up together as a 4-piece, they'd have a little bit more of a success rate on the main roster. If you brought Fish and O'Reilly up in the Undisputed Era with Cole and Strong, then you could have had another solid act in Strong being a part of the Undisputed Era. Cole would have had a reason on the main roster with the Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly could have been another solid tag team because I love them as a tag team on the main roster. You could have did Cole and Fish. You could have did O'Reilly and Fish, O'Reilly and Strong, Fish and Strong. They could have been what you have with the New Day on the main roster with Adam Cole being the leader doing his own thing, but the other 3 guys could have operated as like the New Day does on SmackDown or on Raw. WWE's mentality is now finished with NXT. The Triple H vision is gone. Vince McMahon's bringing in his own people, you know? But they're looking to keep Adam Cole. Sure thing. Sure thing. The NXT that we know is dead. I'll continue to watch because I've said time and time and time again that I love watching people who are, in WWE's eyes, ready for television. I like to see them grow and mature. I like to see them not do so good in the beginning and then all of a sudden see their rise to superstardom, see them get better month by month by month. I love that. I love that. And I want to know who I'm getting ready for to see on the main roster. I want to see who WWE sees as the next big thing. So no matter where NXT is, I'm going to watch. I'm just not going to be as invested because of the latest actions from Vince and his team. NXT was perfect. They saw otherwise for the reasons that I just gave you. But NXT and everything that they did was perfect. I don't know how many times I have to say this to you guys. Everything that they did was perfect. Triple H and what he did as far as presentation, what he did doing the shows at Full Sail, energetic, lively. Everybody was invested in everybody on that roster. Characters were made. They weren't overexposed. They weren't put on TV every single week for you to be a fan and get bored and tired of them. Never as a fan of NXT, you said to yourself, how many times I got to see this guy on television? Why don't they take him off television and give me somebody else that I would rather watch? Everybody got an opportunity. Characters were developed. They got ready for the main roster through their entrances and the way they look at the camera and the theme music and the lighting and everything else. WWE got them ready for the main roster by giving them that WWE feel. Takeovers were special. WWE never put, or Triple H, I should say, it's completely different. I catch myself saying it because it's under the same banner. Triple H never put people on TakeOver for the sake of putting them on TakeOver. Never. Never. He always did the right thing and gave people the opportunity to work their asses off to get to that spot. Those shows were some of the best shows that WWE ever produced. 5, maybe 6 matches. Sometimes it was as little as 4 matches, depending on what was going on. But all of those matches had importance to them. Every one of those matches had meaning to them. And the people on those shows deserved to be there. And when you're seeing somebody else that usually isn't on a takeover, you know it's their time. You know that NXT and Triple H and his team is behind that certain person, that female, that tag team. Everything they did with those shows was right. Time, perfect. No more than 2 hours. If it did, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. always left you in a situation where you wanted it to be 3.5 hours because of how good it was. They brought in Mauro Ranallo. You thought bringing in Mauro Ranallo was something because, oh, he's a great voice. Mauro Ranallo fit the vision of what Triple H was going for with NXT. Sports, realism, athleticism, adult. That's why Mauro was brought in. You thought him bringing in Mauro Ranallo was just, another big name to add to the repertoire. No, Mauro fit because he was there for a reason. It fit the overall mold of NXT. And Mauro is one of the best storytellers in the business, bar none. And that's what NXT was about, telling stories. Long-term booking, long-term vision. He and his voice fit that. Those shows were brilliant. Those shows were fantastic. You'll never see those shows again, ever. NXT TV did it right. Takeovers did it right. Every time those shows were coupled with a main roster show, whether it be WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, how many times did I and everybody else come on here and say, that is my Royal Rumble, that is my WrestleMania, that is my SummerSlam? More times than you care to remember. And you think WWE's social media team and Vince McMahon's team doesn't see the reaction to those shows on social media? You don't think that Vince McMahon has somebody going to him to tell him what is being said about what Triple H is doing? He's gaining a little bit too much momentum. He did this show. It's rivaling what we're doing here. We don't like it. We're being undermined. We're being overshadowed. We can't have that happen here. That's the mentality that WWE was thinking with these TakeOver shows. Why do you think TakeOver was moved from Sunday, or the weekend, I should say, when a major pay-per-view was happening on Sunday? NXT TakeOver was happening on that Saturday. So we had back-to-back shows, Saturday and Sunday. Why do you think TakeOver was moved to its own weekend in its own month, away from major shows? WWE didn't want to have all of this fan hype and all this excitement surrounding NXT, and then WWE is left with crumbs at the table because NXT took everybody's excitement, and then you went into this major WWE main roster show, whether it be Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and you went into it half-hearted because NXT was so fucking great. You didn't care at that point. You didn't care. How many times did we say, that's my WrestleMania? Look what Gargano and Cole did. Did WWE do anything on WrestleMania that year that rivaled that match? No. Not even close. Not even close. If you don't think Vince McMahon caught wind of that, and you don't think he instilled all the changes to happen with NXT regarding that, I don't know what to tell you. They moved it away from the main roster shows because they could not take it anymore. Triple H was overshadowing everything that they did. Triple H and his vision was exactly the vision that he was going to do on the main roster. Because that's the way the shows should have been. Less is more. Long-term storytelling. No longer 7-hour pay-per-views, man. 3.5 hours. Why do we got to give so much? Why don't we have people wanting more? Show up next week and want more. Why do we got to give it to you all in one shot? Right? Takeovers usually happen every 3 months, every 4 months. He wants you to be fucking wanting the next takeover as soon as that takeover is off the air. Vince McMahon didn't want anything a part of this because Triple H was doing everything right. Vince was doing everything wrong, and that's what happened. He knew it, and he killed it. He knew it, and he killed it. And Triple H was set to take over, in his eyes, the next predecessor to Vince McMahon. That's not going to happen anymore. That's not going to happen anymore. It is all over. WWE actively sought to kill NXT, and that's exactly what they set out to do. And this was the final straw that Vince McMahon could no longer take. Him losing to AEW. Triple H built NXT up so big. He built it up so big. And Vince McMahon said, all right, big shot. You want to pretend like you're doing what I'm doing and better? If you think that, we got this other rival promotion right now that's taking money off of my plate. That's taking some of my audience. Because they're doing what you're doing. You want to compete? You want to think you're so big and Mr. Big Shot? Go and take them down. Go and take them down. And Triple H did not take them down. I said it from day one, and I'm going to say it now. If you got Triple H in a closed room, away from cameras and anybody else, and you had a heart-to-heart with that man, Triple H came off as if he made the decision to move NXT to USA Network. It's the natural evolution, the natural growth of the brand. No, it's not. Not from the people that watched you week after week after week and made you appointment television, coming over from the network to see you at 2 hours and give us half of what you were doing at 1 hour. It's not as exciting. It's not as enthralling. It's not as captivating as it used to be. Because now you're giving us more. That's the fucking problem. We were fine with 1 hour. Now you're giving us too much of it. It's the natural progression of NXT. It's a natural growth. It's going to be in front of more people. People didn't want NXT in the way that they were presenting. Then it started slowly to morph into what we see on Monday night. Silly storylines. An overabundance of fucking nonsensical shit. A lot of filler. Moving away from pushing the top guys on television. Long-term storytelling was out the window. I knew it was over when TakeOver was starting to be booked fucking 3 weeks before the actual show took place. TakeOver's usually built. As soon as the TakeOver ended, the last TakeOver ended, WWE would start to plant seeds for the next TakeOver. You would see a natural progression for weeks of television. WWE didn't do anything. They didn't do anything like that. Long-term vision, long-term storytelling went out the window, man. Then we started to get theme shows. They started to book for the theme shows because the theme shows would be a way for fans to get to watch the show. Or it was their idea for fans to watch the show because it's a special attraction, Halloween Havoc, the fucking Wheel of Death, or whatever the fuck they got. Great American Bash. That's what WWE did. They relied so much on WCW gimmicks for NXT, it started to lose its identity. And this is what I said from the very beginning. You're going to kill the very essence. You're going to kill the identity of NXT. All of this killed it. But Vince McMahon thought Triple H was a big shot. Triple H thought he was a big shot. I got it. And he was showed up. He was showed up by a company and another multi-billionaire. And here Triple H was reduced to nothing more than being a wannabe indie promotion with WWE production. He failed. You know, I always thought NXT would be internal competition for WWE, and I still really think that is the way it should have been. For all those great and monumental takeovers that we lived through, the Gargano and Ciampas, the Gargano and Coles, the Blacks, the Ricochets, all those unbelievable takeovers. It should have been NXT being internal competition for WWE. WWE, if they were run by the right people, they should have looked at what Triple H was doing and said, you know what? This is exciting. This is an exciting time to be in the WWE. Let's take what he's doing. Let's show him. Friendly competition between family, right? No, it's not the way they think. Instead of using it as fuel to make themselves better on Monday and Friday night and all the pay-per-views actually be a little bit better than they were, they opted to kill it. They were like, all right, let's do everything we've done. Now let's put him in a war against AEW that we know he's not going to win because we can't stand what he's doing. He's making us look bad. Instead of Vince McMahon taking NXT as influence and using what his son-in-law is doing, he opted to kill what his son-in-law was doing because it was embarrassing him and Triple H was showing up his father-in-law. And then WWE, instead of taking the fucking war and killing AEW themselves, Vince McMahon wants to go out there and deem AEW's not competition. They're a fucking has-been company. It's a t-shirt company. I don't know how TNT is going to handle their blood and guts and all this other shit. Instead of going about it and not recognizing what they really are, and that is competition, you opted to omit yourself from the situation, put your son-in-law in that position, because if you couldn't beat them, then you would look as a failure. So you opted to put your son-in-law there, knowing he was going to fail, so when he does, you can blame him and have absolutely no fucking part in any of this. So you could sit back in your throne and look at him as a failure, and now you're justified in making all the decisions that you made now. Firing people, removing management. Triple H is no longer a part of NXT's creative process. He's no longer a part. He's going to finish out his duties for NXT Takeover 36, and he's going to be actively removed from everything regarding NXT and being in control of NXT. Triple H is no longer the father of NXT. It is done. It is all over. Because Vince McMahon and the McMahon family are petty. McMahon's team is petty. They don't want to be showed up. They were showed up. They got enough of it. They got fed up with it. The AEW loss on Wednesday night was the straw that broke the camel's back. It's all over. It's all over. Changes are happening, which I don't understand. The Blacks and the Andrades and the Owens and the fucking Coles and the Garganos and the Ciampas and the guys that are there right now. Bronson Reed, gone. I got news on him. Bronson Reed, gone. Dexter Lumis is fucking great. Santos Escobar, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Imperium, MSK, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Cross, buried. Keith Lee, buried. And God knows who else on that roster. Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, Ember Moon, Candice LaRae. How much talent do you need looking at you directly in the face? Just waiting for a fucking opportunity. I got it, Vince. I can be the person you're looking for. And they never get a fucking opportunity because it's Triple H. It's NXT. It's indie. How long is WWE going to wait on a return on investment when they go out and get some collegiate fucking athlete from the state of wherever? How long is WWE's return on investment with a Gable Stevenson coming on in? He doesn't know fucking anything about pro wrestling, the WWE style, before he signs, if he does, because he's teasing something on social media with Dana White and Vince McMahon. He got shit on it for teasing WWE because a lot of his fans will look down upon him if he goes to WWE, just seeing what Vince does. How long before he signs, if he does, and is ready for the WWE main roster? How long before he's ready for NXT television? Going to be about 3 years. 2 years, 3 years, maybe. Meanwhile, you got all these talents before they were released, and now, after all these releases, you got all this talent that could have been main event stars, that could have been the next face of the company, and you just threw them away. Instead of embracing what NXT did, you made NXT the developmental system for AEW. Because everybody that you let go from NXT, everybody that you let go from the main roster that came from NXT, and you didn't give an opportunity or the time of day of on the main roster, they're going to be main event guys, going to be major players for Tony Khan and AEW. So you made NXT the developmental system unofficially for AEW and Tony Khan. Folks, this is all speculation, but this is the fact of the matter. I don't need to work there to understand the inner workings of WWE. Not everything I say is correct, but I'm pretty sure this is factually correct. This is the hill that I'm going to die on when it comes to main roster and NXT and all this that happened this year with NXT. This is the hill that I'm going to die on. I've been saying it for years. You can go back to my earliest NXT reviews. The way that they are operating with these takeovers and weekly television is the same way that the main roster should be operating. Vince didn't see it that way. He didn't see it that way. And now we're about to see the death of NXT officially after TakeOver 36. Speaking of Bronson Reed, WWE had plans for Bronson Reed before his WWE release. False. False. They had no fucking plans. I'm going to tell you what happened with Bronson Reed. I'm going to tell you what happened with Bronson Reed. Oh, he was getting called up, they said. Yes, that was factually correct because he lost the North American Championship, so there might have been, oh, this guy is a big guy. Let's see what he could do with main roster talent. They had no plans for Bronson Reed, so the plans is false. Was he about to get called up to the main roster? Yes, absolutely. But I'll tell you what happened with Bronson Reed. Plans for Bronson Reed, apparently, were for him to be on Monday night or Friday night after his loss to Isaiah Swerve Scott and losing the North American Championship. But he received dark matches. He received, I believe, 3 or 4 dark matches. And Vince McMahon and his team, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, Vince McMahon, they all sat together. They watched Bronson Reed wrestle. And what they saw is exactly what I just explained to you just not too long ago. Bronson Reed was the very definition of indie wrestler. He was not needed. NXT and what Triple H did was get him ready for the main roster, but he wasn't Vince McMahon ready. If Vince McMahon is looking at somebody, and he's looking at somebody who is a big guy, possibly could make money off of him, but he's green as grass in the ring, and he isn't the guy that he's necessarily looking for as far as an in-ring aspect. He's got too much indie to him. Vince is going to have no use for him on the main roster, because then that means Vince has to retrain them the way the WWE wants their guys to wrestle, and he doesn't want that. He wants he wants to mold in his image, with his vision, put it on the main roster and have nothing to do with them at that point. He doesn't want the babysitting at that point. And then when Bronson Reed wrestled 2, 3, 4 matches, WWE said, you know what? Let's get rid of him. He's not good enough for what we're looking for. He doesn't fit our vision. He doesn't fit the main event status that we're looking for as far as superstars coming up from NXT. So why send him back to NXT, continue to pay him when we know he's not what we're looking for? We got to beat the indie out of him. Get rid of him. That's exactly what they did. Why Bronson Reed was released. Do I think WWE had major plans for Bronson Reed? No. No, I don't. Do I think WWE looked at Bronson Reed as a guy that they want on their television? No. As a main event guy? No. I do think that his weight, his size was a factor. It always is. It always is. Guys like that notoriously never get pushed past a certain threshold on the main roster. The WWE took that into consideration, and they took the fact that, Triple H really didn't go about training this guy the way the WWE really wants to train guys. So instead of sending him back to NXT, they got rid of him and saved on the very little that he was probably making as far as a WWE contracted employee anyway. Sad scenes. Very sad. Now he's going to go to AEW. He's already teasing a feud with Miro. He wants Miro. Impact would love to have him. The guy is going to succeed no matter where he goes. He's going to learn, and then WWE is going to pick him up and see what he does on the indies. And then WWE is going to look at him. Oh, yeah, let's bring him back. Let's bring him back. Plus, he's 32 years old. He's over that 30 threshold, so he X's off that fucking criteria right there. Bronson Reed did speak out about his WWE release. He says this, and I quote, "I've had time to reflect now and some time to process what has happened. I was very shocked, very upset. As you know, this just doesn't affect me. It affects my wife as well. We are here in a foreign country, but my wife is a super positive person, and she has kept me positive as well. I just wanted to reach out to all of you guys. I'm just very thankful for the love and support I've received online. It is incredible. I was trending on Twitter. That means a lot to me, that a lot of you feel for me and will still continue to follow me no matter what. I did want to thank NXT. I want to thank Hunter and Sean for believing in me. I want to thank all the coaches, Terry Taylor, Scotty Tuhati, Norman Smiley, Steve Carino, those guys that I learned a lot from. And I want to thank all the boys backstage as well. It was a great locker room to be a part of. I'm staying positive. I do believe I am bar none the best super heavyweight in the world. I will continue to prove that. So as they say, one door closes and another one opens. For me, many doors are open. Now it's just about which one I want to walk through. Is that a innuendo to the forbidden door? We don't know. So thank you very much for the support and love, and please keep supporting. Thanks. 30-day non-compete. This guy's going to be back with a company, bar none, on day 31. He will be fine. WWE doesn't need, or WWE doesn't deserve, I should say. They don't need, according to Vince McMahon, they don't deserve Bronson Reed at all, or anybody like him, or a Cole, or a Black, or an Andrade, or a Buddy Murphy. They don't deserve this level of talent. The negligence that I've seen, they don't deserve it. He will be just fine wherever he lands on his feet. A lot of concern about NXT and the new direction the company is going as far as new hires. This is coming from Fightful Select. There's been a noticeable shift in development of NXT talent. The report noted that the following of Canyon Seaman being fired, there were a lot of concerns raised as the direction to NXT and where it was headed. Several names passed on from recent WWE tryouts were reportedly seen as slam dunks by people within NXT, and certain talent viewed the fact that they weren't signed as red flags. The report pointed out that there were more concerns with a WWE rehiring earlier this year, especially among female talent, when John Laurinaitis was named the new head of talent relations in March. Former NXT talent, Asher Hale, who is the former Anthony Henry, or I should say is Anthony Henry, and now the former Asher Hale in WWE, which was a terrible name, by the way, has opened up about his recent release discussing the shift within the company he witnessed firsthand. He says this, and I quote, "My wrestling career has taken me on quite the ride with a lot of ups and downs. Another chapter in this crazy story ended on August 2021. I never thought I would make it as far as I did, but after 20 years, I did the unthinkable. I was employed by the largest wrestling company in the world, and 6 months later, I was released. I know there is nothing I could have done to make things turn out any differently. There is a shift happening within the company, and I no longer fit what they are looking for." Again, words from a former wrestler who was just released out of his mouth about the current vision of NXT. Anthony Henry is not a big guy. He was on 205 Live. Concrete information that what is being said about the no midgets, not anybody over 30 situation, nobody that's in the range of 180 to 200 pounds. They want 250, 260 at best. Anthony Henry doesn't fit any of that. And he was let go, which goes to show you the current trend in the way WWE is handling things now as far as their hiring process and development process in NXT. Now, he says there's a shift happening. He no longer fit what they were looking for. I mean, I get it. I wish I had known that before moving my family down here. But we all take risks in life. It was a choice that I made. It didn't pay off this time. I was gutted by the news. But I also knew this is a possibility. Luckily, my wife is the most amazing supportive person on the planet and has helped me through these past few days. End quote. Now, during Wrestling Observer Live, Meltzer mentioned how McMahon has a lot of contradicting opinions in his ear. Right now, he's returning to a time to AEW or even real Ring of Honor competition in the pro wrestling space. And he wants to see NXT as a brand with people that they can cultivate into WrestleMania main eventers. When Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins were on the black and gold brand. That's what he is ultimately looking for. It seems like the ongoing battle for Vince McMahon's favor will continue, and there are many differing opinions backstage, all looking for his attention. You know there's power play involved. It's this weird word, says Meltzer. There's divisive opinions about wrestling amongst key people, and they're fighting for Vince's ear, like I mentioned. And that is the person that Vince McMahon listened to that week when they released 13 to 14 NXT talents. Toxicity is a word that's being used backstage in WWE. Toxicity. I'm not going to reiterate what I just said about why there was such a division in differences between Vince, his team, and Triple H and his team. You guys know it. But this all just confirms and justifies what I've talked about. The feeling is that when NXT was launched, it was supposed to be a developmental project to get talents ready for Raw and SmackDown. Vince McMahon felt the brand was filled with people in the 5'8" range that were over 30 years old, and while there will be some exceptions, McMahon didn't think they could be main event stars. There is a mindset that there is a need for bigger people and more characters. Meltzer was told by a source that there was a feeling at NXT that when they would sign an independent talent, they would have to, get this, beat the independent out of them when it came to their work style. And then when they got to the main roster, they would have to beat the NXT out of them. This was described as toxicity. And it's what led to Karrion Kross losing twice on Monday Night Raw. So now it's pretty much confirmed that Kross was punished. Kross was punished as a way to punish NXT, Triple H, his team, and the developmental process and mindset that he had instilled in everybody for the last 8 years. Kross was beaten because he came from NXT, and they wanted to beat the NXT out of him. There you go, folks. There you go. Confirmation. This was described as toxicity. Dakota Kai was the other one that has recently felt this. Dakota Kai lost on main event to Aaliyah this week, despite the fact that Kai will be challenging Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver. You don't think WWE knew that? You don't think WWE knew Kai was the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship? That's why she lost. To beat the NXT out of her. What happens to her after this? I don't know. I don't know how she fared in that match or what WWE management thought of Dakota Kai. I don't. Nothing's been said either. Meltzer reported that when Bronson Reed got his tryout matches, McMahon decided using him on the main roster, and since he wasn't going to be on the main roster, there was no point in keeping him, thus getting released. It was said this was the mentality for other cuts, such as Bobby Fish, Mercedes Martinez, and Tyler Rust, amongst others. Now, I don't know how old Tyler Rust is. I don't really know what he's capable of in the ring either. Maybe he was over 30? Mercedes Martinez was in her 40s. Bobby Fish was in his 40s. Gone. No reason for them on the main roster, according to Vince McMahon. Meanwhile, you look at Mercedes Martinez. I don't know how you don't make money off of a Mercedes Martinez versus a Charlotte Flair or a Bianca Belair or a Rhea Ripley or an Asuka or a Sasha Banks or a Bayley or a Becky Lynch. She is just as good in the ring as everybody that I just mentioned. Why is it something that we're looking at now as far as her being gone and not being given an opportunity on the main roster? And the only reason why WWE knew of her in the first place was because they brought her up on the main roster in that terrible Retribution faction. I don't know what the excuse was of why she didn't want to go through with it, but I'm going to speculate she realized that it would have been a career ender for her to be a part of that group. She saw the writing on the wall before we actually seen the writing on the wall, and she did the best thing for her career, and that was to tell them, I want to go back to NXT. I didn't sign here to be a part of this shit. Maybe she was against it politically. Maybe she didn't stand for what it meant and how it really didn't do anything to fucking hide the lines of what was going on in the real world. Even though WWE always sided, we create television to make you escape from the real life out there. Meanwhile, they're bringing in a fucking rebel faction that's causing chaos, just like all the protests and bullshit, destruction around the United States. Who wants to be a part of that? She saw it. So she went to management. I want to go back to NXT. I don't want to be a part of this. If she didn't get called up, is it a thing where they might not know about her? Who knows? Who knows? She probably didn't do herself any favors by voicing her displeasure with the gimmick and the group to the main roster, but she was let go. I don't know how you don't make money off her, though. I don't know why you don't give somebody like that an opportunity. I don't get it. Asuka's 40 years old. Terrible booking for Asuka. Asuka is about to turn 40 years old. So why release somebody like Mercedes Martinez when you have someone like Asuka who's around the same age that you can make money off of here? I don't get it. Bobby Fish, I told you before, Bobby Fish was let go because of his age. Bobby Fish was let go because Vince didn't see anything in him solo, but it might have been different if Triple H and Shawn Michaels and everybody involved in NXT didn't break up the Undisputed Era because they were stronger as a group. I don't think any of them are being done any favors by Undisputed Era being broken up. Cole is the moneymaker there. But Cole would have been fine with or without the Undisputed Era. The other guys, I can't say the same thing for. Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly would have succeeded on the main roster if they were up on the main roster as a foursome, as a unit. The moment you broke them away, that's when their WWE careers are over. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Fish is gone. O'Reilly and Strong will never amount to anything on the main roster. Before long, they're going to be released as well. Because Roddy isn't no spring chicken. Roddy doesn't fit the mentality and the criteria of what they're looking for. Unbelievable professional wrestler, but let's be real. Roderick Strong has no future on the main roster. Neither does Kyle O'Reilly. Neither does O'Reilly. Great in the ring. Does not fit the criteria of what Vince McMahon's looking for. Bronson Reed, I went over why he was let go. I don't believe it. Still to this day, out of the Wyatts and the Strowmans and the Blacks, he's up there as being one of the most bizarre releases, one of the most head-scratching releases in the last year. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think the one with Bronson Reed being released, I think his release is, as far as the fans are concerned, the straw that broke the camel's back. I think that was the one that pretty much gave the fans the impression, why am I watching? Why am I legitimately watching? if you're a podcaster and someone in the community that covers NXT, it really, really backed you into a corner. And you had to ask yourself the hard questions. Why am I covering this show if they don't give a fuck about us investing our time in these guys, only for him to get 4 main roster tryouts and then ultimately get released because Vince didn't see anything in him? It's a difficult situation, not only as the performers are getting released, it's difficult as far as the fans are concerned as well. But WWE doesn't give a shit about us. Another interesting note about NXT is that there was talk of going back on the road for live events in Florida, and there was a push to get everyone vaccinated before they went on tour. But thus far, there are no live events scheduled for NXT, and a lot of that young talent is not getting the in-ring time that they need and time on the road. A while back, there had been talk of an Evolve-like spin-off promotion with NXT talent that is now being used with the idea of having a 1-hour show on Peacock, but there has been no talk of that recently. Now, we may get that show, but it's not going to be an Evolve spin-off. It's going to be under the NXT banner, but the 1-hour show is going to be the NXT show that you know now on USA Network, move back to Peacock at 1 hour, and it's going to be a developmental show. Everybody that you know on the show is either going to get released because WWE has no value in them. This is my prediction. This is my speculation, okay? I think NXT is, after this is all over with, after TakeOver 36, it's all over. Changes are going to be happening before you know it. Everybody that you know and love on NXT, WWE is either going to take them, move them to the main roster, or take them and release them. Now, who that is, I don't know. But that's what I see happening. And the 1-hour show that is this Evolve spinoff show, it's going to be NXT, and it's going to be moved to the WWE Network after that TV rights deal with USA is over. So you may see the Garganos and the Ciampas and the Loomises on some of these shows. They may get retrained by Vince's team, right? And then they may get called to the main roster, or they may not. They may get released. WWE may find no value in a Johnny Gargano. They may release him, which I find hard to believe. I think that would be fucking stupid. They may release a Ciampa. I don't know. It may be a situation where they do release him. It would be stupid. They may release a Santos Escobar or a Swerve or, a fucking Legado del Fantasma. I don't know. But I do think that this Evolve show is going to be NXT as you see it now, just at a 1-hour format on the WWE Network. I think it's going to truly go back to being developmental. And Vince is going to oversee it. Vince is going to lead it. His team is going to lead it. Triple H has nothing to do with it. Nothing. I don't know what Triple H is going to do. He'll probably be pushing a fucking pencil at Titan Tower. Crying every fucking afternoon. Crying every Tuesday. He goes up to Stephanie. Where did my brand go? This was an interesting interview here with Van Vliet. Tyler Breeze said this, and I hope everybody that is potentially thinking about signing with WWE, if you're with WWE and you got a contract coming up, baby, listen to Tyler Breeze. I know Adam Cole is very good friends with Tyler Breeze. Hopefully he took him up on his advice. He says this with Van Vliet. By the next time one came around in regards to his contract, very different scenario. At that moment in time, I was not happy. All they said was, I'm sorry, we can give you more money. I've said, I've been really smart with my money. I don't need more money. I got to the airport and turned around because I am not happy at work. That was when I had the conversation to go back to NXT, but I was ready to leave right then. I had accomplished everything I wanted to achieve of having the goal of the freedom to not sign that contract. When you sign that contract, you know what you sign up for. If you are not happy, then please do not sign. That's what he said. I hope that Tyler Breeze, who was looked at as a mentor to a lot of those pro wrestlers in that locker room, who trained the talent, went out of his way to train the talent, I hope they listened to him on that particular podcast with Van Vliet, and I hope they listened to the words that he uttered with Chris Van Vliet. If you are not happy, do not sign. And it goes well beyond you not being happy. If you know what is coming, do not sign. If they are already telling you without actually telling you with their ideologies and their methods and what they're looking for, and you don't fit that mold or criteria, do not sign. If you want more for yourself, more creative freedom, more of an outlet to show how good you are, more opportunity, more respect, do not sign. It goes well beyond what he said. If you're not happy, that could mean so many different things. If you're not happy, do not sign. That is what Tyler Breeze said in regards to everybody coming out of NXT or joining WWE in general. Do not sign. All right, guys, to finish wrapping up this podcast, we got some ratings news. Let me get right into that. I got SmackDown to cover tonight live. I'll be live on the live stream Friday night. If you guys want to go check that out, it is on the homepage right now, so go check that out. I'm also going to be doing some Twitter Spaces with my boy Andrew Badala, Ticket Drew. We've been doing them before NXT, before AEW. Tonight, it is Rampage, or last night, I should say. You guys are watching this on Saturday. So if you guys are on Twitter, you guys know where to find me as far as those spaces are concerned. I always send out some nice notifications for you guys to join in the discussion. But I want to wrap this up quick. We got some ratings to report. NXT ratings were up on the USA Network after being on Sci-Fi for the last 2 weeks. NXT did 751,000 viewers. That was up from the 520,000, I should say, viewers the show did previously on Sci-Fi. It did a 0.19 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. The show did a 0.10 rating 1 week ago, which marked the lowest the show has done in the history of NXT in the 18 to 49 demo. NXT was moved from the USA Network to Sci-Fi over the past 2 weeks due to the USA Network coverage of the Olympics. As expected, when NXT returned to its normal network, the ratings went back to where they usually have been. We saw Dakota Kai versus Sarai. That was for nothing more than momentum for Dakota Kai to go and beat Sarai. And that is because Dakota Kai is the number one contender for Raquel Gonzalez in the NXT Women's Championship. LA Knight versus Andre Chase. LA Knight and Cameron Grimes set up their match at TakeOver 36 for the $1 Million Championship, as Ted DiBiase is convincing Cameron Grimes that he's better than just being LA Knight's butler. Odyssey Jones defeated Trey Baxter in the breakout tournament. If Odyssey Jones is being propelled the way he has been in recent weeks on WWE television, not only does it mean he's winning the breakout tournament, but it also goes to show you the new edict in WWE is about guys that look like Odyssey Jones. So if he wins the whole tournament, I think he's going to win the whole I don't know if there's anybody in the tournament that's going to beat him just based on the size of Odyssey Jones. But if he does win the tournament, I think that's even more confirmation about where WWE is headed as far as who they're grooming for this new developmental mentality in NXT. Boa versus Drake Maverick. Who cares? And Ilya Dragunov, the number one contender for the NXT UK Championship. And Walter, Pete Dunne beat Ilya Dragunov. And I was surprised by that because I thought Pete Dunne, not only with him and the free agent news, but I thought Ilya Dragunov being the number one contender and him needing momentum going into that match with Walter, I thought he would win that just based on those aspects. But Pete Dunne beat Ilya Dragunov with help from Walter on the outside as a distraction, which only goes and proves my point that I think Ilya Dragunov is going to be the new NXT UK champion and Walter is going to lose, put him over, and then join NXT. And I think Walter is going to be the guy to take the title off of Samoa Joe when he beats Cross to TakeOver 36. Because Joe's already been teasing a feud or a match with Walter in the past previous interviews that he's just conducted. So I think that's going to happen there. I think Walter is going to join NXT and take the title off of Samoa Joe when he beats Cross. That's just my prediction. We got Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole as well. Face-to-face segment. That's set up there. 2 out of 3 falls match. Regular match, first fall. Street fight, the second fall. And if it goes to a third fall, a steel cage match. And that was done by William Regal. SmackDown. On 8-6, the ratings increased from the previous week. 2.169 million viewers on Fox. That was up from the 2.043 million viewers the show did the previous week. 18 to 49 demo, the show did a 0.61. That was up from a 0.57 rating the previous week. And that was when SmackDown went face-to-face with NBC's Olympic coverage. WWE was ranked second on the broadcast television side of things, just behind the Olympics. The overnight ratings had the show do under 2 million, but the overnight usually comes in less than the actual number, which is revealed the following week. But SmackDown was boring, man. SmackDown was not a top-tier show. I don't know how it could be. It's nothing but rematches and just throw whatever you can at the wall type booking. Roman Reigns, and that's it, is the only thing on the show that's even remotely close to being important. Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin was a complete waste. They're setting up Balor and him chasing down Roman Reigns. But John Cena's got Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Where Balor fits into that, I don't know. We'll talk about more about Balor on SmackDown's coverage on the Friday night stream. Uso versus Mysterio. Jey Uso versus Dominic Mysterio. So that was, again, typical WWE booking. We got the Mysterios getting the victory over the Usos, back and forth, tit for tat. Now it's developed into singles matches between the two tag teams. So we got Jey versus Dominic. We'll get Jey versus Rey. We'll get Dominic versus Jimmy. Jimmy versus Rey. And every fucking possible match out of these four guys before we get to the tag team match at SummerSlam. That's WWE's version of booking feuds between tag teams on the main roster. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Apollo Crews. Shinsuke Nakamura won via disqualification. So he's getting an Intercontinental Championship match on SmackDown on Friday. If anything has showed us, as far as what WWE thinks of Apollo Crews, it's him losing week after week after week. I would not be surprised if he loses the championship at all between now and SummerSlam. Shinsuke Nakamura may be the recipient of that title, but at the end of the day, who cares? None of these guys have been built up in a prominent way. They're not important. They're just there. WWE has showed us that none of them are important, especially Apollo Crews being the Intercontinental Champion. Some of you don't even realize that Apollo Crews is the Intercontinental Champion. Just the way it is. Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Rematch. Bianca Belair versus Zelina Vega. Also happened. Again, nobody cares. Nobody cares, man. If you guys want my thoughts on it, live stream is up. I mean, SmackDown was as boring as NXT this week. I don't know what else you want me to say. Monday Night Raw was also a snore. This week's episode of Monday Night Raw saw its viewership and key demo drop from the previous week. Good for them. The show deserves it. It's fucking awful. Monday Night Raw on Monday, 1.79 million viewers on the USA Network. That is down from 1.821. The 18 to 49 demo saw the average come in at 0.49. That is down from the 0.51 the show did last week. No word on the hourly demos or viewership. This was the lowest viewed Monday Night Raw since the return to live fans. That was nearly a month ago on the July 12th episode, and that did 1.609. Lowest viewership since then, and lowest viewership with fans in attendance. But whatever Vince McMahon's doing on the main roster is working, right? Show sucks. Show is awful. This has to be a disappointing number as the Olympics ended on Sunday night. They had no competition from the Olympics. No strong competition against Raw at all on Monday night. It should be noted that Dynamite from last week was narrowly ahead of Raw with the male viewers aged 35 to 49, while the same episode of Dynamite also beat SmackDown in that demographic. Monday's Raw featured a show built around Randy Orton. Is he back to team with Riddle? Is he back to betray Riddle? They gave you a friendship in the beginning, or a possible alliance still in the beginning, only for Randy Orton to quote-unquote turn on Matt Riddle at the end of the show, which is inevitably going to lead to them winning the tag team championships. It was more of a Randy Orton showing Matt Riddle tough love situation. They're not breaking up. They're not having a one-on-one match at SummerSlam. Not going to happen. It's Styles and Omos versus Riddle and Orton at SummerSlam, but Randy Orton versus AJ Styles in the main event. A rematch that we've seen 5 or 6 different times already. Bored me to tears. Sheamus versus Ricochet was the best thing on the show. So Ricochet got the loss there, of course. building to Sheamus winning as he and Damian Priest will go head-to-head at SummerSlam for the United States Championship. Priest, speaking of which, wrestled John Morrison again, and this match gave us The Miz rising from his wheelchair, proving that he's not injured. So I'm sure we'll get Damian Priest versus The Miz on Monday Night Raw because WWE doesn't know any better. Nikki Ash versus Rhea Ripley. Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin, who came over from SmackDown. I didn't hear any explanation as to why he was there. Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy. Kross beat Jeff Hardy. And Alexa Bliss versus Doudrop, where Doudrop was, I guess, stifled by the doll, distracted by the doll, who winked her eyes at Doudrop, and that caused Alexa Bliss to have a distraction roll of victory. That's Monday Night Raw, folks. Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. I mean, at this point, I should put my foot down and not cover Monday Night Raw, but it is the highly viewed show that I do on Off the Script, so I got no choice. Everybody loves when I rant about it, so why would I give that up? I love making WWE booking and logic just, I love throwing all of that in your face about why people think the show's great. No, it's not. Just listen to me. I'll tell you exactly why every single week. Dynamite. They trended upwards over 1 million for 4 straight weeks. This week, they dipped below 1 million viewers, just below 1 million viewers for the first time in a month for Wednesday's episode, which was not really a good show. It was more of the calm before the storm that we get before Punk and Bryan debut. Dynamite drew 979,000 viewers. That is down from the 1.102 million viewers the show did last week. Past 4 weeks of Dynamite did over 1 million viewers. In the 18 to 49 demographic, the show did a 0.35. That is down from a 0.46. It should be noted that the MTV series, The Challenge, which often competes for number 1 in the 18 to 49 demo on Wednesdays, premiered on Wednesday. And a lot of people in the community predicted that Dynamite would be below 1 million because of said challenge on MTV. And it looks like, I don't know who watches that shit, but apparently there are people who watch it. That has caused AEW to dip below 1 million viewers. So in the 18 to 49 demographic, male, AEW did 328,000 viewers. In the 18 to 49 female, they did 126. In the 35 to 49 demo, they did 58,000. That's for the female. And then the 213,000 for men, 35 to 49. So those are the numbers for the more important demographics. AEW will be back over 1 million. When Bryan and Punk get to TV, the show is going to take off like you wouldn't believe. Believe me, it's going to be a great time, historic time to be watching Dynamite. Jericho versus Wardlow with MJF in his corner. That was the final, or I guess the next to final labor for Jericho. So Jericho beats Wardlow, gets MJF next week. And the stipulation is Jericho cannot use the Judas effect and he cannot come out to Judas, his theme song. Nyla Rose with Vicky versus Chris Statlander. Statlander gets the victory over Nyla Rose. Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and... Actually, no, with Darby Allin. That was Chris Statlander. Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia. We got Darby Allin winning that match. Wheeler Yuta, Orange Cassidy, and Chuck Taylor beat Matt Hardy, Private Party, the Elites. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeated Dante Martin and the Seidel brothers. And the Good Brothers defended the Impact Tag Team Championships against Evil Uno and Stu Grayson on the show. Decent episode of Dynamite, not their best ever, but like I said, it is the calm before the storm. Ric Flair is headed to AEW. It was reported that Vince McMahon let him go after a text message from Flair regarding his opinion about the way WWE has been booking his daughter Charlotte. He's no longer under contract. WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair claimed in a statement that it was his decision to leave the promotion. Yes, Rick, it was your decision to walk away from guaranteed easy money for basically sitting on your ass and doing nothing. Yes, it was your decision. I don't know who to believe there, but I don't believe Ric Flair. After his release, there had been speculation that Ric Flair would end up in AEW next to Andrade El Idolo. And Andrade, as you guys know, is engaged to his daughter, Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. And Andrade reportedly wants to bring Ric and Charlotte into AEW. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that while nothing has been announced, the word going around is that it seems to be a lock. Ric Flair will be headed when he is legally able. Booker T even notes on his podcast that he is under the impression that Flair wants one more run as a professional wrestler. Ric Flair then followed up with this speculation, saying that he will never retire, which only fueled the rumor of him wrestling again. Ric Flair is not wrestling again, and he is on the WWE quote-unquote no-fly list. He's not getting in a ring. Stay away from Ric Flair at all costs list. He's not going to be in a ring with AEW if he was on such list in WWE. He will be in AEW next to Andrade, which has only fueled speculation about Charlotte Flair and her feelings staying in WWE, knowing that Vince fired her father, and Vince pretty much dealt with Andrade the way that he dealt with him, pretty much giving him no opportunity, saw nothing in him, felt nothing about him. Charlotte Flair has also wrestled with the kind of body language I would expect someone to wrestle with if they didn't give a shit. And that's just the way I see Charlotte Flair. She just comes off as she doesn't give a shit. She's coming off as if she's just going through the motions. So that's that. Will she end up in AEW? I don't know. But only time will tell. With her father going there and Andrade going to be a pivotal part in that show's growth, one has to wonder if Charlotte Flair would get up and leave WWE when the time called for it. It's going to be a very interesting story to follow. And finally, guys, backstage news on who came up with the Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes feud. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that it was all Tony Khan and his vision for this feud. There are no creative writers in the promotion, but rather the creative process is typically wrestlers coming up with their own storylines and then pitching them to Tony Khan. The storyline was Khan's plan, which was Black attacking Arn Anderson in Miami, then Black beating Cody Rhodes. It was said that Khan sold Rhodes on the idea that this was the guy and the time to do the job, especially since Rhodes is on a brief hiatus to go film the next season of Go Big Show. Black did come up with some of the scenarios in between these points, including his promo before appearing live about how Rhodes is a horse that needs to be put down. It is also unclear whether this feud will continue once Rhodes comes back to TV, but Black did take one of Rhodes' boots as Rhodes was teasing retirement after the match. Black also did a promo about Rhodes this past Wednesday on Dynamite, showing off said boot and pretty much insinuated that you will retire, Cody, when I say you can retire. Don't know when the Go Big feud or Go Big Show feud is going to happen. But as far as the feud goes, because of Go Big Show, it's now stifled because he has to go film. Don't know if he's going to show up at All Out. I just find it hard to believe All Out would have a card without Black or without Cody on it. Some people say Cody needs to go away completely because he is everywhere, but he is one of the faces of the company. I just find it hard to believe that they're not going to be on All Out. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know, but I'm interested in what the storyline is going on between these two. And it's nice to know that Tony Khan came up with the feud. And I like the fact that some of these guys have some creative control. That Tony Khan is understanding of Tony Khan. Cody Rhodes is understanding of Tony Khan. That Cody Rhodes is understanding that he's got to put people over. That Tony Khan is understanding of Malachi Black. He needs to come in and make a big splash immediately. And there's no bigger name to do that right now that's free of anything going on TV. And that name is Cody Rhodes. So I'm glad that they all understood that. I'm glad Tony Khan is giving Black the vision and creative freedom to express his character subtly, not too much, not full creative control, but pivotal parts in the promo, talking points, having him go out there and cut promos the way that he does and vignettes the way that he does. Presentation is key. Tony Khan worked on Black's entrance and presentation with Black. I love it. It's a nice take on what happened in NXT. And it's nice to see the continuation and evolution of his character on Wednesday nights. And it's only going to confirm that WWE dropped the ball on somebody that could have been a WrestleMania marquee name. Vince didn't see it, but Tony Khan does. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. I didn't think the Cody Rhodes teasing retirement thing needed to happen. I thought that was more about Cody Rhodes than it was Aleister Black or Malachi Black, and it took away from Malachi Black. But I'm excited to see where this feud goes. I like the heat that Cody Rhodes brings upon a feud. I like that it's serious when he's involved. And I like where it's going. I do. I just didn't like that retirement angle as I thought it wasn't really necessary. See what happens. But I would like to see it on All Out's card. Maybe we don't. Maybe it happens sometime in September. Maybe it takes place at Arthur Ashe Stadium, September 22nd. It's going to be a big show. The possible debut of Daniel Bryan. Guys, I'm getting out of here, man. I am hungry. I'm starving B, I got to get ready for SmackDown and Rampage. It's going to be a long night. I gave you guys 2.5 hours of this. I got 3 hours of wrestling to watch plus 2 hours of podcasting. I never end my day. Never end my day. But guys, I appreciate all the support, man. Go and hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. If you missed any of the content on the channel, go and check it out previously, as it is all on the homepage. Go and get your merchandise. It should be linked at the bottom of the page. Bonfire.com. Go get yourself some great off-the-script merchandise. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Go and support through the Patreon page and check out Magic Spoon, man. MagicSpoon.com/script. You guys can save $5 off any purchase when you purchase Magic Spoon cereal. And more importantly, follow me on social media. I'll be all over social media for AEW, SmackDown, and going into these major shows happening, SummerSlam and All Out. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Guys, I will be back Monday. Brand new week of WWE content, brand new week of AEW content. So I'll look forward to seeing you Monday live after Raw on Off the Script. Until then, have a great weekend. Stay cool. And I'll see you back here for Raw on Off the Script. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.